And here we go on this Friday afternoon. Good afternoon, 365 Sports. Appreciate you hanging with us throughout the week, and also hope you have a great weekend planned. Man, it's amazing that by the time we see you on Monday, it will be March, and of course, all sorts of things that happen, including eventually the conference tournaments in basketball, the NCAA tournament, and more. Paul Catalina wearing the white and blue today, and Craig Smoak with the light gray with the maroon shirt, and of course the Texas Rangers hat. So yesterday when we went off the air, there was the story about the big meeting with all sorts of leaders and conference commissioners and other dignitaries, etc., with college football being the main topic, with President Trump and more. And we wondered about the conference commissioners who were invited, and we didn't see anybody other than the big Power 4 schools and Notre Dame. But they did, guys, add Gloria Nevarez and also Pernetti. He is also invited from the American Conference, so they'll be a part of it too.
Charlie Baker's going. All these people are going. You know who's not going are any current coaches or athletes.
Yes.
And
the ones who are actually the ones affected most by what's going on right now.
So all due respect to Nick Saban and everybody else, and Nick Saban's very recently not a coach, so his opinion I maybe respect more than some of the others. And no disrespect to Tim Tebow or especially not to Charlie Ward. I would never, ever disrespect Charlie Ward for any reason. He is a current coach, though, so he kind of understands what these guys are being offered. So maybe he has a little bit more to it. There's something, but there's no current players or coaches that are in this thing that are having to deal with the day-to-day changes and confusion, and they're living in it. All these other people could be just annoyed by it, you know, at least that aren't ADs or conference commissioners.
Yeah, I mean, it's a who's who of dignitaries and notable names, and it's a nice big group. I don't know how much a group that big is going to really accomplish ultimately, because it stands to reason there's going to be a lot of differing opinions on how to get to where they want to get, and I'm not sure that any of them, including the president, has any authority to actually do anything that anybody would want to do. So it's great theater, at least as far as what it could potentially be. Hopefully it's got a little bit more meat to it than just that, though, and hopefully it's not just a meeting to have a meeting about a meeting, and it's a meeting that actually can get something done and something substantive and something that we can grasp onto and then build off of. That's what would be news to me. If they all get together and it's simply to do photo ops and to say that you met on a commission for President Trump and you just got to add that to your resume, then it means it was all for nothing and it was all for show. And since politics are involved, there's a better than 0% chance that that's what it is. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I like that there's at least this attempt to try and do something. You can't get any more powerful people than you have on this commission. I mean, you have the president, you have the commissioners, you have TV executives, you've got, I mean, literally any mark or box that you could check that would be relevant to this discussion, you pretty much checked based on what I've seen, save for maybe like, I don't know, yeah, like the athletes themselves. I mean, they should probably be represented to some degree, or the head coaches, but I think that is where Saban comes in, for example. But, yeah, the players don't seem to be represented. Maybe that's where a Tiger Woods or somebody who's a former college athlete can at least speak on their behalf to some degree. But, yeah, like yesterday, it's notable, it's newsworthy, and hopefully it's something that actually makes something happen. But I'm going to not hold my breath on that.
Also, and no offense to Tiger Woods or Bryson DeChambeau, but especially Tiger Woods, you know how long it's been since he's been a college athlete?
Yeah, it's been like 20-some years.
And even
mid-90s.
Yeah, and his sport is one where I don't think – I mean, it'd be great if they got all the NIL that they could, but also it's actually one of the easier ones for them to make money on the side without much interference now because of just golf YouTube in general, and – that if you're Tiger Woods, he played college golf for like 2 years, maybe.
Okay, well, don't get too hung up on Tiger.
But,
I mean, Tim
like,
Tebow's also on there.
But
too,
yeah. So
yeah.
I mentioned him earlier, though. My point is that all these people are so far detached from what it is now to what it was. And what insight is Tiger Woods going to give anybody?
I don't even think of Tiger now as a golfer anymore, which breaks my heart to say that. Is he's now basically almost running the PGA Tour. So a businessman and almost CEO, DeChambeau with the YouTube influx with what he does. It's created millions and millions and millions of dollars for him.
I mean, Paul's right. I mean, they're not current guys. There needs to be probably like somebody who just recently played. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss would make sense to be on this committee or someone along those lines, but I don't know. I don't know what the real motivation is here other than to say we're doing something. And again, we'll see what it actually amounts to, but it's good headline stuff. It's just a matter of, are we on the other side of whatever meeting? And they also indicated they're not even sure about whether there will be like a meeting or all of these people will be involved. So for right now, it does seem like an idea and more of an honor to say that you were on this invitee list, but whether they all meet and determine anything that matters, I mean, we'll see on that. Again, it's very much a to be determined.
I reached out to Cody Campbell because if I didn't, and then all of a sudden I saw him having quotes with others, I did ask him, I said, I think I know the answer, but are you available to discuss what you expect will happen? He goes, this is the tech. Well, I will be there. I don't know a whole lot beyond that at this point. Jamie Pollard at Iowa State will join us the week after if they actually have any kind of symposium, get-together, whatever it is. He will be available to us at that point.
I'll also mention that one of the co-chairs of this event is Ron DeSantis, whose state overall is part of the thing the NCAA hates the most, which are renegade laws that keep moving the goalposts on what is legal in NIL. Florida is on the cutting edge of, this state passed this one. Oh, well, we're going to let student fees cover NIL. Oh, we're going to let this happen earlier. We're going to let our high school kids transfer within the same week of schools. That state is a problem when it comes to this. And when Charlie Baker's up there saying we've got to get these renegade laws in, he might as well be like, hey, Florida, we're talking to you. You guys are constantly, every time we make a rule, you then go pass a law that supersedes that rule.
I did find it interesting that the backlash I did see to this, which I don't know why you'd have. I mean, if you just think it's not going to mean anything, then that's fine. I'm like 1 foot in that pool myself because I've just seen this song and dance, and I'm not thinking that nothing will come of it. I'm remaining optimistic about it and open-minded about it, but I'm also not believing for 1 second that, this is the cure-all we've all been waiting for. It's good. It's good that they're trying to do something, and again, how can you get more powerful than the people they have on this committee? I did find it bizarre, though, that the only real backlash I saw, and granted, I didn't spend a lot of time looking through reactions to this news, but what little I did look at, very quickly, the only person I saw getting knocked for being on this committee was Cody Campbell. And typically it was from like Tennessee fan, Virginia fan, it wasn't Big 12 fans, obviously. It certainly wasn't Texas Tech fans. I know that there are some in the Big 12 that are rubbed a bit the wrong way by just kind of his presence and what influence they think that he has, or just the way he goes about business and all of that. But I think you know that he at least has your back if you're an Arizona or you're a Kansas State. But, yeah, there are a lot of the other schools who don't have him at their backing that are not fans of his. It's very interesting to see just how polarizing he is for some reason.
If they sat down with him, they may not agree with him, but I think if they sat down with him, they realize he's not some terror. He's not some guy trying to
But that's how he's portrayed now. There's a group of people that actually think he's like the guy that's going to kill college football. And I'm like, how could he kill it any further than everybody else is attempting to do at this point?
No, it's, he's the worst assassin. Please stop. Right? Yeah. Please stop with that.
He might be one of the most unassuming people that I know.
I thought, when I heard people saying, why is Cody Campbell on this? I would, if you had to put me in a room with people who, I've just listed all the people I don't think really have much to offer in this. Cody Campbell's the one of the ones I think has some of the most to offer because he's in the fight. This is a project of his. He has spent time working on it, and he has gained expertise on it. As where I'm not sure that Tim Tebow or Randy Levine or Ron DeSantis or Urban Meyer or Charlie Ward or them really do. In that way that they would need to know about it to fix it.
Yeah, and again, maybe they'll tweak that list a little bit and maybe a couple of others. There are too many people on the list. There are some absolutely massive names that are a part of it, which is also a part of it.
The list is what makes you think that it won't be anything
Yeah.
because it just feels like it's an all-star invitational list of like, what are some relevant names in college football from the last 30 years? All right, Charlie Ward and Mac Brown and Nick Saban, and we got to throw politicians in here as well. I mean, and you do in this case because they're going to be needed to get anything actually done if you're able to get something done. So I'll remain optimistic, but not believing that like there's any surefire certainty that this will amount to anything. So we'll see.
Yep.
I will say this about Cody Campbell, though. It wasn't just Alabama fan on Twitter that thinks Cody Campbell's bad for college sports that I see often, or Michigan fan that doesn't trust him and thinks that his money's rotten or whatever. The people who dislike him the most are people on this commission like Greg Sankey. So I think that's interesting because the conference commissioners are the ones that don't like him as much as anybody based on what we've heard.
Put him in the same room.
Right.
Put them in the same room, and that's a good point because put some of those that don't agree with each other, but maybe firing from 1,000 miles away, put them all in the same room and see if they can get something done. There was one other thing I mentioned Jamie Pollard. He just said he was honored to be a part of it. He doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. Cody Campbell made statements about it yesterday, and also we shared a couple of texts from him too. Now, Craig, you and I earlier in the week, and then Paul yesterday, we discussed that the targeting rule was possibly going to change. They have to vote on this in March. Steve Shaw, who we've had on this show, who's the head of officiating for the NCAA, today saying that on the repeat offenders, that only 5 players, he was on a Zoom press conference, that only 5 players committed multiple targeting penalties last year. And that's why they want to remove the carryover suspension. They don't want to remove the penalty. They don't want to remove the actual act of targeting. But that was interesting that 5 players, were only 5 out of thousands that were hit with multiple targeting penalties a year ago.
Yeah, it's almost as if there's only a few things that happen, we shouldn't rewrite the whole rule book for it. I think that's a...
Well, it's not about, I get what you're saying, the carryover. They're trying to maybe not get rid of targeting, but get rid of some of the consequences.
It still should be a penalty.
Yeah.
But sometimes we like to, kill cockroaches with napalm.
It's like a death penalty for stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, cut their hand off if you're like in, some third world country or something, but you don't like kill a guy because he stole a Snickers bar. Yeah. But that's kind of what it feels like to be a very extreme example of that.
So if you get hit with the targeting call, if this all passes in the second half, let's say Toledo's playing North Dakota State, and you're hit with a targeting call in the second half, you're not going to be out the next week. That's one of the things they want to eliminate. And then again, if you get into multiple penalties and things like that can change.
Well, I mean, Steve Shaw said that there was over 100 targeting calls in FBS, which is not really a lot when you think about all of the games that were played. 64 players DQ'd in the second half, had to miss the first half of the next game. So it's
a big chunk.
It is, but then I think if you were to zoom out and say, well, how many games are we talking about? 64 out of 275 games. It's still a good chunk, but it's not probably as much as you think when you hear 64. Whoa, that's a lot. It's it's a little bit watered down though. And then 5 players had multiple penalties. Nobody in the country had 3 targeting penalties, according to the Steve Shaw data that was out there. So yeah, it's not something where there's anybody that's running around doing this all the time. But if there was, well, there's going to be a penalty that can do hopefully some work in trying to alleviate that type of a player from repeating that to the point of, okay, dude, now we gotta suspend you for. If you're that much of a terror, then we're gonna have to make special set of rules for it. Yeah. And you know what? Deservedly so. Mm-hmm. Deservedly so. So yeah, I think it was too harsh to, especially on some of the ones you can just tell are totally unintentional. The ones that are even in slow motion, you're I still don't even think this was really targeting. Because the guy dipped his head at the last second and it became targeting type of a thing. And I know they've sort of addressed that as well, but yeah, especially the ones you see, it's 5 minutes into the first quarter. It's like the first defensive drive, and some dude hits somebody because he's fired up, and all of a sudden he's out there, the rest. So, yeah, I don't like that, and I'm glad that they're addressing it. But, yeah, there needs to be a strong statement for those that clearly have a pattern of behavior, but it doesn't really appear like anybody has much of a pattern of behavior.
No, and they still want to keep the penalty because the number of targeting or how this has affected those who are going to be in that position has been, it's worked. It has worked. I still see, when I see slow motion of what is either being reviewed as targeted or not, I still see something that's targeting. And it's not. And
well,
so that's the part.
That's when it gets into the guys who you don't clearly know the rule, and it's like, sorry, I didn't read the rule book. But there's this byline that explains, well, that means that it wasn't in, So it's
like helmet to helmet, crown to crown can happen and yet not be targeted.
Right. I remember there was a Texas guy, I forget the play and the player, but I was like, oh my God, that has to be targeting. And then it's like, oh no, by the letter of the law, even though it was clearly helmet to helmet, is like that wasn't technically targeting. So yeah, there's still a little bit of gray area for those who don't just religiously know every aspect of it, I suppose. And then when you're just watching a game, bang, bang, you see it initially, you're like, oh, God, that was targeting. And then you realize, oh, wait, upon further review, it wasn't. So, I mean, glad they have that. But, it's a rule that needs to be in place. I think it does have some merit as a rule, but they were a bit severe. And I think they were just overreacting, and now they're reversing course, and that's what you can do. You can make a decision and realize, hey, this decision's not the best decision. Let's change it up a little bit.
They had targeting, started in 08, then they added the ejection punishment in 13. So it's 12, 13 years down the road, and now they're looking at it differently. I just wish they would also, not just 99.999% of the time, this is a defensive penalty. Because, and I don't want to see it often at all, because, again, an offensive player can create targeting too by lowering their head. And I say that the only time I've ever seen it was Oklahoma fullback or tight end 10 years ago when he lowered his head and they called a targeting penalty. You wonder if that's being called enough. I don't want to see it anymore. I want to see it being enforced, but I don't want to see that call. And I like what they're trying to do with this. All right, so today we're going to have Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. He'll join us. How about this note, guys, that the NFL general manager, he wrote a story about this. And Brandon, again, this is just with us here on the set. The number of early entrants by year since the NIL rule was passed has dropped from the year before in 2021 to 130. It was 130. 99, 106, 106 the years before that. Since that time, 73, 69, 58, 70, and 63. It's about 30%, not quite 30% drop.
Nobody has to make that decision to support themselves or their family anymore.
Yeah, in a completely unrelated note, college players are richer than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's not surprising that it's dropped, but it was a little bit more than even I thought.
I don't know. I'm not surprised if it's dropped dramatically because you see guys using their NIL money to hire lawyers to sue to stay in college to make more NIL money because it's the most money they're ever going to make as an athlete, and that's understandable. But, yeah, I don't think – I mean, I talked our draft analyst yesterday was asking about how much more well-prepared guys are now because they are sticking around longer. Like, that's obvious. I asked an obvious question to that guy about, do you notice that they're sticking around longer? Is that noticeable at the combine? And it is. These guys are more seasoned. They're older. They've been around another year at least, other than what they probably would have stayed in the old version of things. And so, that's players are better and more ready for the NFL these days because they stick around and get developed more versus chasing money because they don't have to chase it anymore. It's thrown at them, basically, if you're at high enough level recruit. And even in some cases, if you're just a name and a body during the transfer portal cycle, you get a bag thrown at you because somebody just desperately needs a tackle of some sort. Doesn't even matter how good you are. You're like the last guy available, so everybody's going to throw the bag. So, it's why would you leave unless you just feel like you've done everything you can do and there is actually more money to make on the other side? So, I think that's a byproduct of the system, and it's a benefit for college football. I think that some of your better players that definitely would be gone are sticking around.
Well, and look, 63, that means let's just say they all got picked in the first 3 rounds in those 96 picks, which they won't. But that means that there's still more. There's still less underclassmen than there are first and second day picks. Which before, like you're talking about 100 picks in the first 3 rounds, including the compensatory picks, and you read the numbers, Smokey. There were much more than 100 underclassmen.
Yeah.
That's not including all the seniors who were going out.
I need to get that number. I'm going to try to get that number from the NFL about underclassmen who declared. Yeah.
But you just, mentioned, what Zach had about the people declaring. So if it's down to 63, that to me is a very reasonable number for that. I think about this about college basketball. Like if you declare for the NBA draft and stay in, and you are not told by the scouts you are going to be in the lottery or just outside of it, now you're probably going to stay.
Now you're going to declare, Paul, not get drafted, go G League, and then file for the lawsuit to go back to college basketball.
Yeah, maybe so. But, those are things where, sometimes the math never made sense to me, even back before NIL. It's like, okay, there's 34 underclassmen in the NBA draft. There are 64 picks. And some of those picks are from Europe, and some of those are seniors, and only 15 of them are lottery picks who are guaranteed all 5 years of their money up front. And with the NFL, when you have 118 underclassmen, 150 underclassmen declaring, well, there's only 32 first-round picks. The math is not in your favor unless you are someone that was the Heisman Trophy winner.
And the NBA actually has just 30 teams. You would say 64, so 60, even lower.
Yeah, about to have 32.
Yeah.
But, that'll still take a little bit of time to get there, but we're getting closer to Seattle and Las Vegas. It's basically inevitable that they'll have franchises here soon. And no, it won't be the Mavericks moving to Las Vegas, which is always the dumbest rumor, but I kind of understand why that turned into what it turned into. It's both good and bad, though, right? Like, this part of it, I think, is good in that there are guys who clearly – were reaching because they felt they had to go make a paycheck. And now you don't need to do that. Like if you're Jeremiah Smith, you don't need to stay for your senior season. You were always going to the NFL after your third year, basically. But there are other guys that probably do need to stay for another year that are going to now because, they're going to be well compensated, and that's a good thing. And then on the flip side, there's also the downside of not even draft related so much, but I guess it is in that Diego Pavia is not getting drafted highly. Chandler Morris isn't getting drafted highly. So they're hanging on like Charles Bediako and so there is that give and take of like, hey, there's guys that are staying and get developed that do benefit from it, but there's also guys that refuse to leave now that we got to move out that need to go forced into the draft. And so there is a give and take there, but I think that's good for college football, and I'm sure the NFL probably kind of loves that as well. Develop these guys for do our job for us, basically. Give us better players a year later with more seasoning than them coming to us too early or not quite ready because they just need that paycheck.
All right, we have Zach Barnett in just a few minutes. Also today, Dennis Dodd, longtime award-winning CBS Sports college football columnist and writer, is going to join us at 4:25. He saw the story yesterday, and he went off, and he really was, I think, for the most part, pointing at the SEC and the Big Ten. He'll join us today at 4:25. And then Kyle Yeomans for DallasCowboys.com has been at the NFL Combine. He will join us today at 5 o'clock. So let's go through infuse NFL Combine news and notes that I picked out. Brandon Rowe has the graphics for this. The first one is Sonny Styles. This dude here, and there's going to be graphics and some things. Sonny Styles, the Ohio State linebacker, here's what they say about him. He's taller than Mike Evans, faster than George Pickens, quicker than Patrick Peterson, jumps higher than Devontae Adams. He's more explosive based on testing than Derwin James Jr. and heavier than Trent Cole, as he went nuts with the analytics and more, and had himself one hell of a week.
Yeah, he's going to be a top 10 pick. He's actually somebody I was kind of hoping would fall to the Cowboys just out of, oops, we forgot about him. He's not getting to 12.
Out of all of the linebackers since 1987, based on the testing, he is ranked first out of 3,215 other analytics from the NFL Combine since 1987.
And he might be a top 3 pick overall because he's a pass rusher as well. He's an absolutely fantastic player. I was watching Ohio State in one game earlier this year. I can't remember who it was against.
Texas?
Well, it was in the Texas game. He did very well, but it was in the middle of the year. I had turned him on, and every other play was Sonny Styles doing something to disrupt it.
And if it wasn't him, it was Arvell Reese.
Yeah. And so I thought, like, holy cow. But Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese both there at the top of this draft. Caleb Downs at the top of the
How
draft.
did they lose a game?
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes it's not all about the Jimmys and the Joes, I guess. But yeah, they're really they're all really, really good. But Sonny Styles is a heck of a player. And again, if he falls to 12 and the Cowboys don't take him, when one of their biggest needs is linebacker, they better take somebody really, really good instead.
Well, they lost because Miami has a really good defense.
Yeah, that's true.
And Sonny Styles had nothing to do with that.
And Indiana beat him, too.
He was helpless over there, like just sitting there. There's nothing I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a freak show. I mean, he really is. And Ohio State's got their fair share of those guys. And, he's an incredibly talented and obviously God-gifted specimen of an athlete and a human being. And, those are eye-opening numbers. Got to be wary of the combine freaks, except for the fact that he's an All-American that's proved it over and over. That's not just
this
like
isn't Mike
numbers.
Mamula.
Yeah, this isn't Mike Mamula. This is a dude who's actually been there, done that, won a national title, everything, basically. So, yeah, he's got to have people just slobbering over themselves at the combine. And unfortunately, if you're not in that top 5 and that's pushing it, you're probably not going to have a chance at getting Sonny Styles.
Now, David Bailey, freak show at Texas Tech. I just kind of compared Sonny Styles to previous players based on his combine. He is faster than Antonio Cromartie. He is quicker than Devontae Adams, jumps higher than A.J. Green. He's more explosive than Adrian Peterson and heavier than Von Miller, based on his analytics and all the various exercises and all the various things that they did and he did at the NFL Combine. Here's one other note. Top production scores from the 22 through 26 NFL Combine. Will Anderson would be ranked first. David Bailey, based on all of these numbers, second. Abdul Carter, third. Reuben Bain, fourth. And Aiden Hutchinson, who's pretty good, from Michigan, in the NFL like Anderson is, and Carter now is at 5.
All these people making fun of Reuben Bain because he says that T-Rex. T-Rex is still a pretty terrifying dinosaur. All I'm going to tell
His faces.
I mean, it's like known as the dinosaur, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
the most ferocious
you
dinosaur.
can say that, calling him a T-Rex. I've seen all these memes of like him in Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know what? That dinosaur, guess what dinosaur they never killed in Jurassic Park? The T-Rex. They always just kind of left it in the Jurassic Park to kind of have its own way. So they just ran away from it.
There's nothing that I would love more than if I just had like unlimited powers. This would be I would just rip the mask off of everybody who's trolling in moments like that and be like, all of a sudden their profile picture turns to like their live shot of who they are to see, T-Rex arms, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Hump Blake in Minneapolis is calling me T-Rex arms. And you see, the anonymity just leads people to just pan a dude who's going to be a top level draft pick because he's got slightly shorter arms than the average they look for. So he just gets dunked on relentlessly by Paul in Waco or whatever. It's just... I guess it's our opportunity for us average Joes to tee off on these stars. But yeah, man, it's just you just know the people calling him T-Rex arms. There's somebody out there that has shorter arms than he does and is much more awkward. But
I saw a note though. But he and was it Cassius Howell? Their arm length, which is below 31 inches, there has been no linebacker drafted among the top 100 players with arm lengths of less than 31 inches, like in the last several years. They're going to pop that. They're going to change that. Can he freaking play? And I get it.
But there's also hey, Deuce Vaughn could play, man. He'll overcome his size.
That's exactly
because he didn't.
because everyone fell in love with just who he is.
He didn't come close,
Yep.
and we all fooled ourselves into thinking that he might be able to. And then the moment you saw him at his first Cowboys practice, you went, "Holy S, he is so much smaller." Than he even looked in college.
He's even so I think a lot of people thought that he could be Darren Sproles.
Right.
But if you've ever seen Darren Sproles, he's not he wasn't tiny. He was just short. Like, Deuce Vaughn is a tiny
small.
guy. He's small.
He's like Mighty Mouse.
If you look at Darren Sproles' legs, I mean, you could take – they're like Jerome Bettis' legs just on a smaller person.
Now, obviously, Ruben Bain's not that size small or anything. It's his arms that we're talking about here. But, yeah, I mean – There's those measurements for a reason, so maybe that does matter. I mean, we'll see.
Will Campbell apparently struggled this year. I mean, he started,
his arms,
but his arm length, they said it was an issue. But
it was brought up before the draft.
And it was brought up before the draft. I think
it was one of the worst performances we've ever seen in Super Bowl history. Yeah.
But also, he is a rookie, and he probably hasn't learned how to deal with the fact around that. Like,
guess what he's going to learn during the offseason?
Yeah, he's going to get stronger. He's going to get smarter.
Yep.
They're going to say, okay, well, your arms aren't this long, so here's how we're going to change your technique.
This is how we overcome that.
Yeah.
With Bain, one of the things that was mentioned, Brian Broaddus, who's a former NFL scout, does a great job with his podcast, is because his power index is so high that when he hits, and because of the shorter arms, his punch rate is huge. Darren Sproles was 5'6", 190. Deuce Vaughn was 5'6", 175. And that's 15 pounds for a compact body. Sproles played in, how many games did he in? 183 games in his career, and Vaughn played in 14. So it was not the same despite the diminutive type of size. Jacob Rodriguez, how has he done? Linebacker at Texas Tech. He had a hell of a combine. He's not the highest rated analytical, all of that physical skills, but he did, out of all the linebackers, he had what is called a 9.23 RAS, possible 10.0, and out of the last 3,215 prospects since 1987 at the linebacker position, he would rank 249. And he did really well in the three-cone drill and also the shuttle. So there we are with Jacob Rodriguez.
Well, I'm sure he'll kill the interviews and the leadership tests and things like that, whatever they put him through as far as his personality and his people skills and those types of things. He'll be great. I think he gets probably knocked a bit too much doesn't get enough credit for how good of an athlete he really is. But this is an opportunity to show that off and prove doubters wrong. Sounds like he's had a productive combine, and he'll get a shot. I don't know where. I don't even know where he's projected at this point. I think I last saw him, it was like the third or fourth round, maybe a little bit higher than that. So, yeah, easy guy to root for, hell of a college football player, and good luck to him. But, yeah, I think there's some people that feel like he's like some old slow guy or something because he's been around so long, and it's like, no, that's not the case. He'll pop you.
I think he's a probably second-day pick.
I think
which
he's
just means
late,
not first round.
Not first round.
I think he'll be at 3 or 4.
I think he's going to be a second-day pick, but I also think he's as close to a plug-and-play starter in the middle rounds as you're going to get because he's so smart.
Imagine him on special teams too.
Oh, he's like you're not going to be able to tell hey, we want you to learn all 3 linebacker positions, and you know what? Spend some time with the guards too, just because we want to see if you can do it. And you're going to run down on special teams. Can you learn to kick? He'll be like, all right, there's 24 hours in a day. This will take 22. You sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, I think the thing with him, too, is his size is a little bit of a concern, but we'll see how that all works out in the wash. But he's a great player.
One other Big 12 player. Go ahead.
Linebacker size never bothers me as much.
Because of that win?
Because of Zach Thomas and Sam Mills. Like you can name about Dexter Coakley, a bunch of guys who had really successful NFL careers by being diminutive by linebacker standards.
Jack Kelly, BYU, had himself a week, and then we come back. Zach Barnett will join us next from footballscoop.com. He, out of all the linebackers, 3,215 among analytics, combine, all of that, would have been 57th with a huge combine performance. The young man from BYU, all these are agilities and times, et cetera. He was given a very high grade based on what he did. And by the way, just a quick note, Jackie Marshall, who could never stay healthy at Baylor, he would have been 57th out of the 3,200 players since 1987, the defensive lineman at Baylor. So he had himself a pretty nice combine, and a lot of still things to do, positions to run, et cetera, be tested in the next 3 to 4 days. When we come back, Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. And this is 365 Sports and Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, and used to be. So how does all that work? How does it affect you? 1 out of every 3 to 4 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone, lack of energy. You don't sleep the same. You don't get a good night's sleep. You don't have any sex drive. If you do, you can't perform, all of the above. And even if you really have a nice exercise routine or you're in pretty damn good shape, but all of a sudden you're like, man, there's just a little bit of belly fat. That could be low T as well. Contact Dr. Petty, pettycliniclowt.com. Tell him I sent you. He will then set you up and take care of you getting your blood work. He will get the results, get back with you if your low T level is too low, and give you the option to be a part of a program that will help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, and used to be at pettycliniclowt.com.
Deals in Waco. Get a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $10,000 off or 0% financing, plus the best truck warranty in America at Ellen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Come by, let's be friends.
As my go-to guy, can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
You have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf cart batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
It's time to compete against yourself, finding too many excuses not to work out combined with bad eating habits, and Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness can help reach inside your competitive soul. Discipline, getting results you've only dreamed about, personal training, group exercise classes, and even a tanning bed, world-class tennis facility, and pickleball courts and lessons available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, spacious, clean workout rooms, free weights, state-of-the-art technology, weight training equipment, and no intimidation. It's time for you to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Established in 2007 and independently owned, Alliance Bank Central Texas is committed to helping families and businesses meet their financial goals. From their tellers to their board of directors, they know the importance of superior service and competitive products. Customers have confidence knowing that their financial needs are in good hands. It's your bank, Alliance Bank Central Texas, with 2 Waco locations, 4721 Bosque Boulevard and 191 Archway Drive on Highway 84, and at alliancebanktexas.com. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
When you play hard, sometimes you fall hard. Sports injuries require special treatment. At Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, our team of expert doctors provides athletes and active adults with comprehensive sports medicine care, diagnostics. Whether you're in high school, college, or beyond, we'll help you get back on the field. Call on the team physicians for Baylor Athletics. Call Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
You got batteries for my side-by-side?
Yes.
Replace my flashlight?
Sure thing. What about my business?
Oh, good one.
100%.
Batteries for my fleet of trucks.
Gas floor scrubbers?
Yes, and fire panels.
We have pallets of batteries.
Well, what about...
As your go-to guy, if it needs a battery, we have it.
Well, that's all you had to say.
Could have led with that. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
365
This
Sports.
is 365 Sports.
Yes, it is. David Smoak with Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. We appreciate your time. Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com, wrote an article about an NFL executive that was talking about less players are entering early in the NFL draft, and NIL, since it was passed in 01 or 2021, is probably the main reason why. Zach, I know, by the way, thank you for your time, because I know you got construction and whatever else going on around you today at the house. The numbers don't surprise me. Is there anything else but NIL that could lead to some of these drops in early entrants?
No, I think that's it right there. The incentive structure has changed, and the reasoning for a guy, like if you were an obvious first-round pick, if you're Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, just an absolute freak of nature, you're going to go to the NFL as soon as you possibly can and make as much money as you possibly can. But if you're somewhat human then the reasoning went from, well, the NFL average career is 3 years, and I'll be lucky to get 5, so I might as well go to the NFL as soon as possible to make what money I can out of my football career. Now it's, well, the NFL, I'm probably only going to last 3 years, so I need to stay in college and make as much money as I can before I go to the NFL.
How do you feel that translates to their talent on the field? We talked to a couple of draft experts that says for the most part, it looks like there's an uptick on guys maybe sticking around a little bit longer because they have more experience coming in.
Yeah, so Kansas City Chiefs GM Brett Beach, he put a number to it, and that's what really caught my eye. Is he said that 25 of the top 75 to 100 guys that they identified before the draft ended up staying in the draft. Or staying in college, that probably would have gone in an earlier era. So you're talking about nearly an entire round of second, third round guys that are not going to be in this draft. So it'll be great for whatever team gets those guys a year from now, assuming they stay healthy, because they'll be a year more seasoned, experienced, and physically developed once they get there. But in the meantime, it means a guy that you probably would have taken in the 4th round a few years ago is now a Friday night draft pick.
Yeah, Zach, it's almost like the NFL doesn't have to do anything, and they just let college football continually evolve to being the best minor league system ever. Because now they're not only developing these guys, but they're developing them even further than they did before, and they're paying them, so they're staying around to develop even longer.
And college gets to turn these guys into celebrities, so that it explains at least half of why the NFL draft is the big event, the biggest sporting event we have in the spring, because these guys are celebrities by the time they put on that NFL baseball cap. So it definitely explains why the NFL should continue taking a hostile stance towards scheduling against the college football playoff in December.
Yeah, and I was wondering, this is enough meat on the bone. Brandon, could you put the graphic up on the early entrants by year to put it in perspective as far as the numbers for those who are watching us today on 365 Sports, and so you can see the drop-off and not just hear the numbers. When you look at the possibility, could this continue to go lower, or until they get something where it calms NIL down, will even less and less early entrants enter the draft?
I still think a lot of these guys. First of all, you're going to have the top of the class guys that are just off the charts. That are first. If you're a first round pick after 3 years, you still are going to go to the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. The type of money that you're going to make in your first contract is not worth risking to stay. So I'd be really surprised if it ever drops below, 45, 50, because 1 year of college football is not worth trading the security of those first round draft picks.
Zach, who following along, who have you been most intrigued to follow in the combine so far?
I really have find myself chuckling a little bit at these NFL people getting their first looks at Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, just because it's pretty clear they didn't watch these guys over the last 2 years. But I've really enjoyed seeing that. It seems like Arvell Reese to the Jets at the number 2 pick was all but cemented this week with the trade that the Jets made. I believe it was Sonny Styles that was compared head-to-head with Calvin Johnson. They're basically the same human being. I got a chuckle out of that. And then just asking myself, you don't want to hold it against the team for not winning back-to-back national championships. Obviously, winning one national championship is hard to do. But when you consider that Ohio State has the 2 biggest physical freaks in the combine in Styles and Reeks, and then probably the best overall football player in the draft in Caleb Downs, and the best player in college football, Jeremiah Smith, was also on their team this past season, and they went out in the quarterfinals.
Zach, what do you make of this latest commission that is being launched? The news coming out yesterday. The president, former coaches like Urban Meyer, longtime former players, Tim Tebow, various politicians. Just it's like a who's who of people. But does it actually amount to anything in your eyes? And what are your thoughts when you saw that announced?
No, I think if you were actually serious about solving the problem, you'd get – I don't even say solving the problem, about understanding where college sports is today. Because, of course, college football, college basketball has its problems, but you can make a sound argument that the games are in a better place than they've been in a long, long time. So if you want to understand where the industry is, you'd bring in coaches, you'd bring in actual current players, you'd bring in agents, you'd bring in collective CEOs and executive directors of the collectives, you'd bring in general managers, DFOs, people like that actually draw paychecks from college football. I have to imagine that this commission is nothing more than a chance to look important and for everyone to get in a room and agree with each other.
Yeah, there's too damn many people. The more people, the less that anyone could probably be heard or is listening. I saw where the D1 cabinet also has now endorsed the FBS Oversight Committee on punishing schools who pay players who sign with the school without properly entering the transfer portal. Do you feel like they'll actually enforce this?
Too soon to say. I saw I guess the number one ambulance chaser in college sports these days, Darren Heitner, that seems to every single week win his clients the ability to switch teams at halftime if it feels like it. He kind of said that this is a violation of the Sherman Act and will not stand legal muster. Certainly, his law degree is more recent than mine, so I'm not going to laugh him out of the building. I think. On the other hand, the NCAA has got to do something. You can't sit back and say, well, we can't try anything. So I salute them for trying. It makes sense to me. I think if you have a human system, you need a human solution. So I support the NCAA at least giving this a try.
Zach, do you mentioned it violates the Sherman Act. It's funny to me. I'm curious your opinion on this. For years, the college athletes were trying to unionize and get rights. Then they started winning all their court cases, and now the tide is shifting more to some leaders of college football wanting them to unionize, and the players are like, well, why would we do that?
Yeah, it's a little bit like playing Nerf basketball with your little brother. Why would you want to quit when you're winning? So I think the idea that a players' union could accurately represent all these different college athletes, college football players. I mean, even if you're a 5-star recruit at Ohio State and you're a 2-star signee at South Alabama, your realities are going to be very, very different. Your priorities are going to be very, very different. So I think the idea of collective bargaining is far-fetched, and you'd probably be negotiating against agents who represent the most powerful NIL agents, and those are the same people that have been beating you at the negotiating table as it is. So I personally, I understand why the ADs, the commissioners, are making their pitch towards Congress, simply because even as unlikely as it is that they get a federal bill, it seems to be their cleanest way out of this.
Zach, one more question from me is there still have been coaching changes, coaching like coordinators or assistant coaches. Any in particular, and I know there's probably a ton, but anyone in particular that has joined another staff that you think upgraded the staff, maybe it caught your attention more than others?
Well, I'll give you one that caught my attention was Robert Livingston leaving Colorado. He was much younger than Deion, but he seemed to be the one adult in the room on that staff, and the one guy that would have gotten that job in a sane system where you don't have a celebrity head coach. So for him to be gone for an already struggling program, I wouldn't have been surprised if Deion had called it quits after last season. And again, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think Deion is going to ride out, a half decade of 3-9 seasons, and I don't see that team getting a whole lot better anytime soon.
All right, Zach, I don't think you'll mind me doing this. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but your wife, Tracy, has been coming back from a horrible health scare. Can you give us an update on it? And we have a link to the meal train that is allowing people to donate or even get food or meals to your family. Can you tell everybody a little bit about where she is? Because it looks like she's taking a turn for the better.
Yeah, so she's been in the hospital since December 22nd, collapsed with viral myocarditis stemming from the flu, spent 8 days on life support. And the great news is that life support has saved her life and saved her heart. But while she was on that and in a medically induced coma, she had a stroke localized in her spinal cord. So she had an incomplete stroke in the C4 vertebrae. So that left her paralyzed from the chest down. So her brain is fully intact. Her heart's working great. She has use of her arms, but she's been in a rehab hospital for the better part of this whole month and a whole lot of next month, trying to rehab her body and learn how to operate without the use of her lower extremities. So it's been a hard time, and the reason I'm on the phone right now is we've got guys, as I speak, remodeling our bathroom, make it ADA compliant. So it's been a very, very hard start to this year for our family. So any help that anyone can give is sorely appreciated.
We are going to put the link up in the chat room. We have a lot of great people that are there that have donated, and we will try to help you out even more with that. And thank you for your time, and good luck with the renovations, and tell her a lot of people thinking about her.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Zach Barnett with us, footballscoop.com, and I will put the link up in the chat room here momentarily. It's Meal Train for the Barnett family.
Brandon, did you get that graphic I sent you? Go ahead and put it up so people can see it. It did not load properly when I did it earlier, Smokey. That one's on me. I'm sorry. Here is the NFL draft early entrance by year. I thought it was loaded up properly, and it wasn't. But, yeah, there you go. You see it right there. So the bar chart is certainly scooted down in the direction of less people. So.
Yep, you can see it, no question, and we appreciate Zach Barnett, the college football, footballscoop.com, on almost, every Friday with us during the season, and wanted to get him on again for the story that he wrote about the early draft entrance by year. We'll have Dennis Dodd today. He'll show up at 4:25. How about the best 10 returning college football quarterbacks, according to Tom Fornelli, who said, hey, I just love doing lists because I know everybody will agree with them. We'll have that next, explain that next, and this is 365 Sports. We have, again, Baylor alumni. Baylor alumni with Doug Furch and Paul Thorpe. They'll be on the road. Go to baylor.edu or go to Facebook and look up Baylor alumni, and they have all sorts of the schedule they have when they'll be on the road when Kansas City, just around the corner, believe it or not, with the women's basketball tournament and the men's basketball tournament. They'll have various activities. If you're a Baylor alum and you want to go to that tournament, you're in the area, they will have all sorts of send-offs from the team hotel and other activities as well throughout the day, throughout the tournament. Women and then men in Kansas City at baylor.edu.
For years, and let me tell you, I can feel it in my joints. Shoulders, elbows, and knees. Trust me, pain doesn't retire when you do. I tried everything to get rid of the pain. Nothing worked until QC Kinetics.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens and other patients are getting lasting relief with QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. No surgery.
I trust QC Kinetics. You should too. Let's commit to getting rid of all the pain.
Schedule your free consultation today. QC Kinetics. Better starts here.
At the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off, or a new Laramie Crew Cab with 3.9% plus $15,000 off MSRP. Shop Allen Samuels in Waco.
Hello, I'm Camille Johnson with Camille Johnson Realtors. We specialize in selling residential real estate agent all across our community, and we love serving all types of families. We have been in business at Camille Johnson Realtors for almost 9 years, and I have been a residential real estate agent for almost 40 years. And we love our partnership with 365. So thank you for partnering with me, and thank you so much to all of my clients who have made our company a success.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
Petty Clinic Men's Healthcare in Woodway is now proud to offer you men an exceptional weight management body sculpting product called semaglutide, also known as Ozempic or Wegovy. Semaglutide is an FDA-approved weight management medication. Once-a-week injections of this powerful medication offers an average body fat weight loss of 20% within the first year of treatment. In addition to body sculpting, semaglutide also normalizes blood sugars and has the clinical research proof of reducing blood pressure, cholesterol, stroke, and heart attack risk. If you're like most men and you have stubborn fat that will just not respond to typical diets and exercise, then help is finally here. Semaglutide, affordable, highly effective. Google search Petty Clinic Waco and reach out to the Petty Clinic team today for a free consultation with Dr. Petty to see if semaglutide is right for you. Go to pettycliniclowt.com.
This is 365 Sports.
4 o'clock hour is brought to you by QC Kinetics. Go to qckinetics.com and use regenerative treatment to help get rid of aches and pains for good at qckinetics.com. Now, I love lists. Sometimes there's a little bit too much. Sometimes they're a little bit premature. But Tom Fornelli put up a list of the top 10 returning starting quarterbacks in college football. There can be a debate about who should be 1 or 7, but you look at this list, it's pretty damn good. C.J. Carr, and Paul and Craig, you guys along the way, please. He had a hell of a year. His first year at Notre Dame, of course, they did not make the playoffs, and there was the controversy, and then they pulled out of the bowl game against BYU. But C.J. Carr, and then you see Moore, Manning, Say it. Let's start with C.J. Carr. Your thoughts about him topping this list as returning quarterback.
I actually, when I break it down, the only person I would have maybe switched him with is Dante Moore. But I think C.J. Carr performed so well in his first year as a starter and was consistent every single week for the most part that he was just a redshirt freshman last year. Now he's going to be a redshirt sophomore. So I think that the ceiling is super high for him. So I completely buy this number one on C.J. Carr. I'm a big fan of what he did last year, and I think Notre Dame will be really good again this year because they don't have to play this. Are we getting Sam Hartman? Are we getting Riley Leonard? They've got a homegrown guy who will be there for a couple years in the same systems. Relatively, I know that coordinators kind of come and go, but they're pretty consistent there at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think C.J. Carr is logical. He's not probably, if you polled college football fans just in general, he's probably not who you're taking number one overall as far as the tally of votes. Arch Manning's probably the most popular guy, right? And then I would say Dante Moore, maybe even Julian Sayin. But, yeah, C.J. Carr looked really good in times when we saw him. And think about just how young he is still.
Mm-hmm.
That's the upside for him is just that he's still so young and there's still so much more to improve upon and to get better at and just experience. So, yeah, I can see why there's a lot of high upside on C.J. Carr. And I think, too, they had such good running backs last year that a lot of times he didn't have to do a ton, right? You have guys like Jeremiah Love, back there in the Texas native, their other running back.
Jadarian Price?
Yeah, Jadarian Price from Texas. Both those guys were studs. Now they're both gone. So I think you're going to have to rely on C.J. Carr to whip it around a bit more, and looking forward to seeing him do that.
So he's one. Dante Moore, of course, there were thoughts that if he came out, he'd be the number one quarterback in the NFL draft, even ahead of Mendoza. And he's at number 2.
Yeah, and I think I think with the Carr thing, that's also, it's kind of like when we were doing this list on the Big 12 quarterbacks the other day, and it's like, how are we defining them? Because you go like on the obvious, like, no opinion for right now. Well, then I'm going to project this guy, though, on his high upside, but I'm going to project this guy on like what he's actually done. And that's where the list can kind of get confusing. It's an eye of the beholder thing. I think C.J. Carr's a little bit on what he's done, but it's also very much about like what he can be. And Dante Moore, I think it's a little bit of both. I think he showed a lot last year. Also a guy who you expect to be a very high draft pick in the very near future in next year's draft. And obviously, as you pointed out, could have been that guy this year, the number 2 behind him. I would have been interested to see like what kind of noise he could have made compared to Mendoza if they were the two guys that were going like sort of at it throughout this process. But I think he definitely stands to gain a lot from coming back. I think Dante Moore made the right choice. If this is yesteryear, I'm not so sure he does, right? I think he probably goes to the NFL because, well, I'll be the number 2 quarterback and I'm not making any money here. So, like, I'm going to go again. So, as we were talking about earlier with these declarations, he's the type of guy, and I don't know, maybe his family's well off or something and you don't have to make that call, but he is at least a loose example of, come back to college, become a better player, also make your money, and I think he made the right choice in that. I think all the guys actually who decided, I mean, we'll see ultimately. Maybe Trinidad Chambliss made the wrong choice, but I don't think so. I think all these guys that decided to come back are probably bettering their stock by doing so.
Yeah, and I think Dante Moore, again, he's the Jets quarterback next year if he came out
screwed.
this year.
Totally screwed right away.
He's the Jets quarterback. And look, he might be the Jets quarterback next year. Like, he knows there's nothing he can do to control how good the Jets get to where if he comes out and he's a top 5 pick, if they have the pick that's going to pick him, he's going to get picked there. But I do think that he's done himself well by staying into the year. This was his first full year as a starter, full year. Now, when he was a true freshman at UCLA, he started a little bit. Then he redshirted, or he backed up Dylan Gabriel. This is his first full year as a starter. You need more reps. The guy right behind him on this list is another prime example of that. Getting those reps as a starter in a premier league in college football is only going to help him. And, I mean, I think that it's going to be a battle between him and Arch Manning and a couple, maybe one other guy on this list for the number 1 overall pick next year.
If, in fact, if Moore and Manning came out.
Manning.
Okay.
I just think so.
And what would that mean for Mendoza?
Nothing. He's already in the Raiders. I mean,
no, I'm talking about if those two.
Mendoza would be the number 1 pick, I would think. But, I mean, Manning would make it interesting. I mean, there would at least be more conversation about his upside. But, like, as far as what's been proven so far.
Yeah, Mendoza would be Mendoza, Manning, Moore to me.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it would be. And, I still think that Mendoza, although it's the Raiders, so they'd probably see that Manning last name and go, oh, man, we can't pass up. And you know what? We don't know how he's going to – I mean, we know what he tested as a high school athlete and things like that. But, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be the brainchild of some NFL organization trying to pick between these guys. So I know what I'm thinking as far as a guy who just watched college football this year. But if I'm the Raiders or the Jets or whoever, then maybe I do take Arch Manning over Fernando Mendoza. But certainly that's going to be a fun batch of guys to speculate about next year with Arch and Dante Moore and almost this entire list, right? Like, I mean, pretty much.
He was at Alabama originally.
Yeah, so pretty much
sure,
this entire list I think is going to be up for the draft, if not the entire list, as I'm looking it over.
Well, last year would have been his second year in college.
For saying?
So
Yeah, so he would be a third year. He'd 3 years after graduation.
The entire list is going to be ready to rock at the combine next year. And yeah, that'll be talk about a hell of a quarterback draft.
My God, yeah.
Not that all these guys will translate because they never do from college to NFL, but, I mean, damn, man, think about this year being what it is, and it's Fernando Mendoza and
Ty Simpson.
And Ty Simpson. And then it's next year
Garrett's
Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, Darian Mensah, Brennan Sorsby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Where's Sam Levitt on that list? He's not. That's
he's
name
not on
that
there.
Might be missing.
And another name I didn't see is Jaron Kiave-Sangapolutele, who's not a guy who would actually be eligible, I don't believe, for next year's draft. But he is somebody who I think is definitely a guy who could be on this list by the end of next year. But there's a lot of good quarterbacks on here, so it's like, who do you take off? But I think that Sangapolutele and who did you just mention?
Levitt.
Levitt, yeah, are obviously like two pretty glaring omissions that you're like, okay, if you had somebody who's missing from this list, it would be, I think, those two guys. And look, there's probably somebody else we're not thinking of that somebody's screaming into the abyss right now, but it's a pretty salty list of quarterbacks, and half these guys probably wouldn't still be in college if it was the old way of business. So, and this is also very much, you're looking at the impact of the transfer portal here. I mean, shit, look, Josh Hoover, Jade Mayava, Trinidad Chambliss, Brennan Sorsby, Darian Mensah, Julian Sayin.
Who hasn't transferred?
Arch Manning.
That's right.
C.J. Carr.
C.J. Carr.
Yep, that's true too, yeah.
But yeah, like that's a list of
Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton too. Yep. Because Dante Moore came back from UCLA, and like over half the list is guys that have moved at least the one time. So this is the transfer portal and NIL in action, fellas. Like it's not panning out for this draft, but it's sure as hell going to pan out for next year's draft.
And Sayin was committed to Alabama, but was he ever?
He was there he was enrolled and getting ready to go to spring, and then Saban retired, and then he went to Ohio State. So
he's technically a transfer.
Yeah, he was he attended some classes at Alabama, and then went to Ohio State. Now, I do think
that's a good-looking list.
Josh Hoover didn't transfer to Indiana. If Josh Hoover transferred to, say, North Carolina, he wouldn't be on this list. He would be kind of just off it, and Sam Levitt would be on.
Yeah, possibly. I do think that Josh Hoover is going to get bonus points for the Indiana factor now.
He's stepping into a great situation. Sam Levitt also, I think, is stepping into a pretty good situation, but he also is coming off a year where he was injured for half of it. He's going into a new coaching staff, a team that wasn't the national champion last year, so he has a lot more working against him. Josh Hoover is going to a place that was just the national champion and appears to be able to help him fix the only problem he has, which is interception.
Well, I think, too, that he's just going to get a Signetti bump now. Like, there's going to be a natural Signetti bump for at least a little while. There's going to be that kind of an aura for at least a couple of years where you feel like, all right, I could go play quarterback for Kurt Signetti and go the Mendoza route and the Hoover route, and wouldn't be surprised if they're suddenly turning into the transfer quarterback factory because they're going to have back-to-back, if it all pans out the way you want it to, back-to-back first-round picks. But, I mean, we'll see, because that's a stocked list. I mean, that's a lot of guys who you could potentially talk yourself into taking in the first round, not number one overall, but the first round. I mean, like almost all these guys you could make an argument for. So, yeah, and then you add in potentially Sam Levitt.
How about Mestamaker?
I mean, Mestamaker's definitely a guy that's going to be on NFL draft radar. So, yeah, absolutely. I think Mestamaker, if he has a similar year to what he had last year and he does it on what would quote-unquote be looked at as like a step above, then there's absolutely no reason to not throw him into the talking points, because he would have done it 2 years in a row, two different schools, two different leagues, and still be that good. Then that just means he's a damn good quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think Mestamaker could make some noise as well eventually.
And I'll tell you right now, just my assessment, if the draft if we're talking about this and it's 1 year from today, and we're looking at this, and I'm going to make the prediction on this list, the quarterbacks that I know will almost for sure be in next year's draft, even though they might have some eligibility remaining, like Dante Moore and Arch Manning, will be Moore, Manning, Mensah, Sorsby, and Mayava, and maybe Hoover. But those guys will all be in the draft, and I would say Moore, Manning, Mensah are first rounders right now. If we ended it and said they're first rounders right now, they probably would be first rounders this year.
Jake Retzloff, where's he?
I don't know that he's an. I don't know. Like, he's a really good college player.
If
but
this was the top 15, I would say he's.
Yeah, I mean, he'd eventually be on the list.
Just
but
throwing
I would
out some of the names.
Take him over most of these guys. But
and the other couple you mentioned.
He's a good quarterback, though.
Okay, just throwing out. Well, I don't know what the pros are going to think of. I'm sorry, Jennings from SMU.
I mean, yeah, he's a good player too, but
again, we're talking first round.
We're talking about high
just some
level.
names. Yeah.
I mean, he's a really good college football player, Kevin Jennings. But yeah, I think there's still some questions about him. Although I think he answered a lot of those last year. They were just very quietly just sort of there. I feel like SMU last year, and good and competitive, but they were just sort of there. And he didn't get a lot of spotlight on him compared to the playoff run, obviously, the year prior. But there's a lot of really good quarterbacks on this list. So the 2027 draft, I mean, some of these guys are not going to have a choice. They're going to have to go to the draft. But there's some underclassmen here that could stick around, like a C.J. Carr if he wanted to, or an Arch Manning if he wanted to, and various others here. But, yeah, there's also some guys that aren't on this list, like Sam Levitt or who else did you mention? Jake Ratzlaff, I suppose, among others that, this is – even if a bunch of the underclassmen didn't decide to go out, it would still be a stacked quarterback draft, much less if they do decide to come out and you're getting Arch and C.J. Carr and all of these guys. So that, you could see why some franchise would be like, we're going to wait till next year to really spend heavily on a quarterback because there's like 15 guys that can be quarterbacks.
All these guys do have potential to be first rounders. I think that's pretty rare in that
compared to this year, you might have someone will slip into the first round like
Simpson will be in the first. Simpson will be in the first round.
Yeah.
Maybe not as high as he would want to be, but after the. We got trivia already, Brandon. You got to switch that back. But if you go through 6 to 10, Sorsby, Chambliss, Maava, Hoover, and Stockton, you're going to have to show me through the year. Like the top 5, I'd say, those guys are first-round draft picks. Even like saying, like all those guys, just because of the tools that they have. 6 through 10, just need to show me that they are first-round draft picks. But I don't see anybody like Gunnar Stockton to me, just by his – physical tools overall, seems to me a guy that would fall later. He's not he's certainly a winner and a gamer, but he's not going to go to the combine and people are going to go, ooh. Yeah, and that's not the most important thing in the world.
I'll gladly be wrong about this in the future, but I mean, if I'm going off of like wow factor and who I've been impressed by, he's well down the list of all these guys, and I would actually throw like JKS above him and throw Sam Levitt above him, and this is not to be like negative towards him. I've been far more impressed by other guys, but he's got another year to show that I'm wrong and that a lot of other people are wrong.
Now, look, John Mateer is the quarterback at your favorite school, so he's not on this list either. It doesn't deserve to be yet. And you may not answer this question, but I knew that if you told Smokey and I that we could have Gunnar Stockton on FSU or Nebraska right now, we'd be like, sure. Yeah, how fast?
Nothing that he wows you with, but just his grittiness.
Also, in college, I don't need to be wowed as much as I need to be just like, don't make mistakes.
Yeah, but could he do that at either one of those schools?
Well, I mean, he's a really good quarterback, but there's also a bunch of really good quarterbacks on this list. So, like, he's the third SEC quarterback, but he's behind freaking Arch Manning and Trinidad Chambliss.
And there's two categories of college quarterbacks, and there's probably two categories of pro quarterbacks when you do this, when you call effective starters. There's the Jason White, Gino Torretta category, the Chris Winkie category of, man, they're damn good in college. They can win a ton of awards. They can do all those things. But, when it comes to the NFL, they're not as big or strong, as fast as you may think, or healthy as some of the other guys. Gunnar Stockton to me right now on this list, and maybe Josh Hoover a little bit, fall into that list right now, but that doesn't mean that they can't get better. And look, if Gunnar Stockton goes to the NFL and he's the next Brock Purdy, probably drafted a little bit higher, wouldn't shock me either because of his moxie.
Yeah, somebody asked me give me a name that's not on the radar. The kid Brad Jackson at Texas State, he's 6 foot is what he's listed as, so he's probably 5'11", but as far as a first-round pick, what with G.J. Kinney and that offense, it'll be fun to see what he could accumulate, compile, et cetera, the rest of the way. Earlier in the conversation, when I mentioned the name that was missing, I was going to mention Sangu Palatelli, but I decided to mention Sam Levitt and let you say that name, Craig. That's kind of your guy.
Jaron Kiave Sangu Palatelli. Yeah, a lot of people have jumped on him. The thing about him, though, is he's not eligible next year.
Not a true sophomore.
He was a true freshman. That's why everybody was going gaga over him. I saw him early on in the season. Obviously, if you followed recruiting, you knew about him from Oregon and all that, but yeah, he ends up at Cal eventually, and saw him like it was the first or second game of the year, and it wasn't like big eye-popping stats. Is that he threw like the prettiest football I'd seen in a really long time, like such a pretty spiral that I just go, wait a second, like I gotta watch that again. That was so pretty. And he just is doing it all night long, just dropping dimes. And, yeah, he's very talented, but he's just a true sophomore. So, yeah, he's not on this list for next year. I mentioned him as far as just I think mostly just the really good quarterbacks that are coming back. But, yeah, I do want to clarify, he is not eligible for another 2 years. And because of that, if you want to go ahead and put the early odds on, number one quarterback taken in 2028, he's the odds-on favorite unless Arch Manning decides to just write out his full eligibility or CJ Carr or whoever decides, like, no, I'm going to play all my years and I'm not going to go into the draft next year. Then he could probably get bumped off that spot. And there's also tons of guys who could show up this season and vault their way upwards. But as far as 2028 mock draft, number one overall quarterback, Jaren Kiave-Sangapolutele from Cal, yeah.
Say it again.
Jaren Kiave-Sangapolutele.
How about Lenore Sellers?
Yeah, I mean, he's a
he
good
was
player.
Like full throttle at this time a year ago, and then, of course, at times he shows you what he had, but they had a very disappointing year.
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy. There's a lot of quarterbacks. I think we've proven. Yeah, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks. So the NFL will have plenty to choose from here in the next year for sure. They just can't choose it as soon as they would probably like to this April. They're being given slim pickings compared to what will be like a buffet line of quarterbacks next year, even if a bunch of those guys decide, I'm going to inexplicably – I can't imagine Arch coming back for another year if he plays a full season. But then again, I could see him saying, you know what, I'm making like $10 million in Austin at this point. If you're a senior, right, and I'm in Austin, it's I'm basically as much of a quarterback for a pro franchise without being a pro franchise as you can get. I mean, yeah, there's those long odds that he would do something like that. But, yeah, I can't imagine too many of those guys will stick around. So JKS is an early 2028 clubhouse leader, and I'm maybe forgetting some others that would be in that ballpark as well. But 2027 is going to be – I mean, we're going to need draft analysts just for the quarterback position. Like, not even going to have time to ask about defensive line or wide receiver or whatever. It's going to have to just take all your time asking about the quarterbacks because there's going to be so many good ones.
All right. Peyton Manning, speaking of Arch, Peyton Manning at Tennessee played all 4 years. I don't know if Eli, what he did at Ole Miss, if he played 4 years. But they ran their course. Of course, different rules back then than we have right now. So that might be of interest too. They are not in a rush. And, of course, we know Eli is the one that eventually forced the change where he would eventually play his NFL football. Just looked at Eli. He played 4 full years at Ole Miss.
Yeah, so it's possible. I mean, Arch is doesn't appear to be in any hurry, and he really loves Texas. So, yeah, it's possible that he could stay 4 years and play as a starter for 3 of them. And if he were to do that, then I think him and JKS and whoever else you want to fill in the blank with be a hell of a 28 draft class. I'm just assuming that he's going to be in the top 1 overall discussion because that's the expectation. And, again – we're not going to do this if he slips a little bit next year. Oh, no. Yeah. We're talking about next year. We're not going to do that again. We did that this year. We're not going to do that again.
I thought he looked great.
I thought he did too, and that's why I'm saying that because there doesn't need to be another buffer excuse given if it's not lights out next year.
It's amazing how good you look in the last couple of games when the running game shows up for the first time, and you don't get blasted like you stole everybody's lunch money.
And I'm more or less referring to a small sample of analysts who were very adamant about how great he was going to be.
Getting the tattoo on their chest.
At Heisman 2025 and National Champs 2025 and all of that, and we're fully embracing it and fully spreading it and fully marketing it that way. And the moment it was clear that wasn't going to happen, it's like, oh, no. We're talking about 27. We're talking about 26.
Arch Manning's the best college football player I think has ever lived. And Manning's got 3 starts. I mean, let's pump the brakes because it's not fair to Arch. It wasn't Arch saying this.
No, this isn't anti-Arch in any way.
Other people that are saying this, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, against Ohio State, since all these pundits think that you are the greatest thing to ever live, well, you better throw for 400 every game.
Well, that won't be your fault if you – I mean, it will be your fault if you don't, but I'm not going to, get mad about it or anything like that, but I am going to call out the analysts too.
But it will not surprise me given, his family that if he, at the end of next year, looks at the top 5 of the draft, if he's, in fact, going to be a top 5 draft pick, which probably is, if he looks at the top 5 and it's 5 teams that – he doesn't respect that they don't respect the ownership, then he'll go back to Texas.
Well, it also depends on who else is right there with him as a a top 5 pick as a quarterback. But that's what they do. That's what they've done.
But it mostly depends on if he's healthy next year.
Yeah.
So we got to get there before we figure
no.
out what his decision's going to be.
I am still blown away and by his athleticism and his ability to run and being a big body, and then you run that fast. It's hard to do anything if you do catch him. Kim Coulter is back. He donated $1,000 to Zach Barnett's wife's fund.
Wow.
Holy cow, Kim. That's incredible.
Welcome
man.
back. Glad you're feeling better. He was released from the hospital. He's walking. Has had a hell of a last 2 or 3 weeks. And Kim, thank you. Great to see you back. And $1,000 to Zach Barnett and the wife, the fund. Golly, I just got goosebumps with that.
Is Kim bionic now?
Yeah, he is. Is
he bionic? Or he damn well should be.
His wife sent me, she sent me 2 pictures of the actual x-ray. He's bionic.
Good. Well, good. I'm glad.
It looks like T-Rex up and down his spine. Let's put it that way, as we said.
Well, Kim, I know you've been going through it, man, so awfully generous on your part, but that's not really a surprise for those people that know you a little bit at this point. So I know chat's probably glad to have you back. Garrett's going to ban you in any second now, and, and welcome back.
Oh, my Lord. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Great feedback. A lot of you, a lot of the ones that brought up Lenore Sellers, et cetera. I'm so glad we did that.
No, that's fair because he was a big talking point before the season last year.
I thought he was going to be a top 5 pick after this year.
And I think, he's in a situation, South Carolina right now, where there's some proving to do for his head coach, starting with his head coach. Mm-hmm. And there's some pressure there, so we'll see if he rises to that pressure. But he's a very talented player, and he was the bee's knees there for the very beginning of the was it last season?
The season before. Yeah.
Season before when he was really at his peak kind of hype for a second. But no, he's a very talented player. Last year a bit of a dip, but another guy. I mean, there's legitimately like 15 quarterbacks that if they play to their highest level or just improve upon where they are, they can go like, yeah, I can see them getting picked in the NFL. I don't know. This might. Let's go full hyperbole here. If those guys pan out that we just looked at and guys who can leave decide to leave, and then you have Lenore Sellers or Sam Levitt or whoever, that could be possibly the greatest quarterback draft class of all time.
No, absolutely.
As far as depth goes.
I
mean, I don't want to get too far ahead because I'm not Mr. Shock Jock, like whatever, like, Stephen A. type of thing. But that's a long list of quarterbacks.
That's like 1983.
Yeah, that's like a really long list of quality guys, and that's not even the full list potentially. So, yeah, that could be an all-timer draft next year, but there's a long way to go.
Elway, Bledsoe, Marino, and I think, I don't know about Kelly, but
Jim Kelly, 83,
USFL. But thank you for all the feedback, by the way. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Yes, Dennis Haiti, I had seafood in Indianapolis during the NCAA tournament at St. Elmo's, shrimp cocktail. Cleared my nose out for about a month and a half during COVID. It happened. Thank you for your time. Appreciate the feedback from you. When we come back, Dennis Dodd fired off a column. He's retired, but an award-winning columnist on this meeting March the 6th with all the names and why it's happening. His thoughts about that and more. This is 365 Sports. Truck Month going on at Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Brand new 2025 Ram 2500 Crew Cab Rebel. Go anywhere, do anything. It's $11,200 off. The Ram 1500, the new Tradesman Crew Cab, just $39,990. And not just one, but a handful of them on the lot right now. And I'll give you the location in a moment. How about the Texas Style and Comfort 2026 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab? This is one of the Alphas, $11,000 off MSRP. And the 2026 Ram 3500 Limited Mega Cab is waiting right now with $13,000 in saving. Ram, best of class. They've won so many different awards for what they do with Ram trucks. Also, don't forget the Ram Best of Class, 10 years, 100,000 miles, powertrain warranty. Ted Teague, the CEO and general manager, and great people. David Gray runs the entire sales department, either pre-owned or new. It's a fantastic lot with a bunch of cars and trucks and SUVs ready for you. Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat.
I pitched in the major leagues for 24 years, and let me tell you, I can feel it in my joints. Shoulders, elbows, and knees. Trust me, pain doesn't retire when you do. I tried everything to get rid of the pain. Nothing worked until QC Kinetics.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens and other patients are getting lasting relief with QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. No surgery.
I trust QC Kinetics. You should too. Let's commit to getting rid of all the pain.
Schedule your free consultation today. QC Kinetics. Better starts here.
The time is now. It's time for a new ride at the New Year New Ride Savings Event at Richard Carr GMC Buick Cadillac.
Sierra blends the premium interior with the muscle of a true work truck, built to handle the job and look good doing it. It's why GMC Sierra is the best truck on the road. During our New Year New Ride sales event, qualified buyers can save $13,000 on a Sierra. Drive one home today for just $41,390.
Call now, get here now, or log on now for the New Year New Ride Savings Event at Richard Carr.
Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Pepperoni Magnifico. Pepperoni Magnifico. Marco's Pepperoni Magnifico. Classic and crispy cut pepperoni, 3 melty cheeses, all on our fresh made dough. And starting at just $12.99 for a large, it's no wonder Marco's was named America's favorite pizza chain.
With over 25 years of excellence in IT, Carrion Solutions is your trusted technology partner. From managed IT services to cutting-edge cybersecurity, our expert team delivers tailored solutions that drive success. Our portfolio includes products such as Veeam, Bitdefender, Microsoft, Cisco, and Fortinet. Call David Carrion and his team of experts. Call 888-522-2221 or visit us at carrionsolutions.com.
Are the adventurous. Determined are the leaders. Faithful are the healers. At Baylor, you'll find your calling, your people, and your purpose. Dare to be you, indeed.
This is 365 Sports.
Oops, excuse me about that. 365 Sports right now rolling through half the show, almost halfway there. In fact, we are past the halfway mark. We will have Kyle Yeomans from the NFL Combine Indianapolis at 5 o'clock. We are now joined by almost like I'm introducing a multi-Grammy Award-winning musician, but a phenomenal guy in Dennis Dodd, award-winning national columnist and writer covering college football for CBS Sports. Thank you for your time, Dennis. We appreciate it. And all of a sudden, last night, you unleashed a column.
I believe it was this morning, but I don't know if it matters what the timing was. But yeah, this hit me hard because I've always been kind of a media rights guy covering conference realignment, stuff like that. And for some reason this week, the SEC and Big Ten were compelled to put out a white paper, which is kind of a report in the industry, where they had gotten a consulting firm to react to a piece of legislation that's winding its way through Congress called the SAVE Act. It is not sponsored by, but supported by and assembled by Cody Campbell, who we know well. Cody Campbell would have everyone believe that all 136 schools in FBS should be under a single entity, much as the way the NFL is. The NFL went that way in 1963, 65, and the riches have been untold since then. He makes the case that if that was the case, the SEC and Big 12, Big 10 schools, as well as everybody else, be making multiples more money than they are now, instead of staying in silos in each of their media rights deals. Okay, so my question was at that point, why are they even wasting their time commissioning this study, putting out a white paper. They're the SEC and Big Ten. They're the rulers on the block. Well, things developed in the last 24 hours, which kind of answer that question. We all know now that President Trump is going to have a college athletics summit March 6th next week with some very, I don't know, interesting figures. Tiger Woods, who doesn't have a college degree, but is a personality and likes Donald Trump. There's some others in there, like the president of the New York Yankees. I don't know what he has to do with college sports, but Charlie Baker's going to be there. Cody Campbell's going to be there. Charlie Baker's the head of the NCAA. But I think we have the answer to that question as to why the SEC and Big Ten reacted. This is Donald Trump, man, and you gotta be concerned that this isn't some flight of fancy by Cody Campbell, who is very, very tight with the president, that this could impact their prospects in the future.
Dennis, they can have this big meeting and all, but what generally, the president can't really do much about it other than trying to front it into the agenda or tell all these people to vote for it, but it's still not going to get through the Senate right now. So why would they be so worried? Unless I'm wrong about those things.
That's a great question. I think there's two answers to that. I think this summit meeting is going to be more performative BS that we've seen from not only the president when he calls these type of things, but we've had 13 hearings regarding NIL, and they all are like stage theater, and they've been a waste of time. I recall a congressman from Georgia showing up in a red jacket to support the Bulldogs, an old plush bulldog toy at the hearing, saying go Dogs, and go get the chair of the committee saying go Gators. And, it turns into a pep rally. So the credibility of the thing was ruined right from the beginning. The other part of this is we're talking about the leader of the free world who is attempting right now to change the laws in elections that would federalize elections. And that should be scary for anyone. If he can do that, I think he could probably issue an executive order and get things done here. Who's going to stop him? No one stopped him yet. And I'm not even being political. That's a fact. So I think there's 2 points there to be made.
Dennis, do Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti have any reason to care about the rest of college football, in your opinion?
I think they do on the surface, although Greg Sankey has been quoted many times kind of throwing up his hands, saying, if we can't get this done, our conference alone can have its own playoff. And you know what? He's right. Someone would buy those 16 teams and watch them play an entire season and then play, what would it be, 16 teams, 15 games just in the SEC alone to determine a, quote, national champion, and people would watch it. So he's right. Do they care? Yeah, I wrote in retirement on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. Tony Petitti's proposal for a 2014 playoff is brilliant. I looked at it. There's no downside. He's plugged up all the holes. 23 games. The whole thing would be done before the current end of the 12-team playoff, which next year is going to end January 25th, almost into February, into Super Bowl time. So it made total sense. And on its face, I think this was one of the biggest points. The group of five, the way it was set out, because it's the top 23 teams ranked, plus the group of five, highest ranked group of five champions. So basically, if you're ranked, you're in, you've got no excuse. And so in that setup, a group of five could have limitless teams. They won't, but they could. So in answer to your question, yeah, they care, but they care first about their own conference.
They clearly don't agree with Cody Campbell. What do you think about Cody Campbell's approach? I mean, there's been, obviously they had the study that was poking holes through, no, it wouldn't make this much money that you're saying, and no, it wouldn't make more money for these guys. Is that just their study telling them what they wanted to hear because that's the angle they're trying to put out there, or is there actually, an argument that his idea doesn't have merit? Like, kind of how do you see that?
Yeah, that's part of it. They hired this consulting firm, and any company does this when they want to make a point. They know what the result's going to be. They got their desired result. That our research shows that 136 teams wouldn't, in a single entity, wouldn't bring in more money. Well, and the current setup is better. Well, that's fine, but the the tab on that on that website, FTI Consulting, says we specialize in helping distressed clients. There's something like that. It's like, so, what are they consulting about? So yeah, they got their desired results. The other part of that is, and I just got a text back from a pretty significant media rights person who used to work for a network, and he made a great point. Putting those 136 teams under one entity would put a lot of content on the market. It would be the equivalent of putting the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, and Major League Baseball all at once on the market. Well, that business approach alone would dilute what they were going to get in return. I think that's a good point. But you have to go back to late 24, if you guys remember the Super League proposal?
Yes.
Where it's some pretty big names supporting it. This is kind of the same thing. They were going to take the top 80 teams, divide them into 8, 10-team divisions, and then I think the top 2 in each division would create a 16-team playoff. But their research, and they thought they were pretty good on theirs, they said at the time, the likes of the SEC and Big Ten would double or triple their money in something like that. And so I think there's two views here. I think, in some way, I think the SEC and Big Ten are seeing a little bit of their power slip away with the president involved, with Cody Campbell involved. I love Cody Campbell. He's a disturber. He's an influencer. He's the de facto owner of Texas Tech football and Texas Tech athletics. He's a billionaire. That can't be discounted. And he is friends with the president. So I think that's got their attention, whichever way this goes.
Well, what I said yesterday on the show, Dennis, about Cody Campbell is he's kind of an enigma in that he's a big billionaire oil man who, at least in this walk of his life, favors a socialistic approach to college athletics to raise the floor and raise the ceiling so much. I think that scares people because they don't know, which rope he's going to jump off of.
Yeah, I agree. I think scares might be a good idea, but he's not I'll say this, he's not all hat, no cattle. The guy is smart. There's a reason he sold Double Eagle for $13 billion, I think. He understands that there's a reason that these private equity firms can't wait to get into to college football. And I think what we're talking about is basically an argument over whether college athletics is undervalued or not. And I don't think there's any doubt that it's undervalued. I was at a conference a couple of years ago where Jerry Cardinale, who's the head of Redbird Capital, one of the biggest private equity firms in the country, went up on stage and said he can't wait to get into college athletics because it is so undervalued, because these conferences are all in their own separate silos with their media rights. And somebody asked him casually, what would Michigan football be worth by itself? And he said $1 billion. Are you kidding me? $1 billion for Michigan football? That's incredible. That's what the NCAA makes in 1 year on the NCAA tournament. So I don't think there's any doubt that college athletics is undervalued. The question is, can people like Cody Campbell do anything to unlock those riches to make it more valuable?
You know what, Dennis, would be another column for you, and I know you don't want to. I mean, you're damn good.
I don't want to work. I'm retired.
No, I know. How many college football programs would be worth $1 billion on the open market? If Michigan is, there's probably maybe 5 or so.
Yeah, we can sit here and probably come up with 10 or 5. Ohio State, Texas, USC, Michigan, the usual suspects.
So,
but if they're not worth $1 billion, okay, what's wrong with $875 million? You know what I'm talking about?
No doubt about it. What do you think the conversation would be like if Cody Campbell and Greg Sankey were locked in one room by themselves and they had to start talking to each other?
Oh, I think much as what we've seen in public. Greg Sankey's a gentleman. He would make his points, and this is going to happen March 6th. Greg Sankey's going to be there. All 4 Power 4 commissioners, along with some of the people I just mentioned, are going to be there with Cody Campbell and the president and the head of the NCAA. Again, I don't think anything of substance will come out of it, but we're going to see it in real time next week.
They could have a red carpet for this thing, Dennis. Like
they actually could. I mean, and don't put that past the president.
Honestly, they could. I just wonder how valuable it is to have a bunch of people who haven't been college athletes in a super long time and not enough current people at the table when you're going to have this discussion, symposium, roundtable, whatever you want to call it.
Well, look, I said this is going to be very performative, and that's what this usually is with Donald Trump at this level. He plays to his base. What's interesting is a lot of his base is in the SEC, and he hasn't come out and ruled on this either way. Yes, his base is in the SEC, but he's really tight with Cody Campbell, who has this revolutionary idea that a lot of people think is going to work. So if he spills the beans on some of that or gives some more details, I think it's huge. And I think it's huge. You guys mentioned it, that it's called the SAFE Act. His bill, or the ones he's not sponsored but supports, I think it's gotten through the Senate, is waiting to get through the House. In fact, he texted me yesterday, said, well, why did he couldn't figure out why the SEC and Big Ten came out with this white paper. Mm-hmm. He said because it's going to hurt his effort in the House. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, that's probably the reason that they did it. But for the average fan, I think I don't want to say way above their heads, because I think in this era of NIL, the fan has been the winner. They've proven that on Saturdays, they don't care about NIL. They don't care about transfer portal. They don't care about anybody like that. They just want to see their teams win and play. Record ratings, record attendance since NIL started, 4.5 years ago. So this is going to be a lot of minutia. It's going to be a lot of it performative, but for people like us, it's going to be fascinating to see which way the game heads, because everybody, should the game have a commissioner? Obviously it's in one sense, it's out of control. In a definite different sense, there is absolutely no leadership. The SEC and Big Ten control 59% of the playoff money. But they can't come to an agreement on what the playoffs should look like. I think it's reprehensible.
Yeah, and you got the text from Cody. We brought up a couple of things from him. He's very unassuming, but a lot of people just see the fact that he's a billionaire. Tech is spending a lot of money, and they really don't know him. Hey, how was a football season without so-called working?
It was great. On most Saturdays, I was on the couch. And at night, I may have had a cold one, adult beverage in hand, and did not miss at all chasing deadlines. There were a couple of times that I was jonesing to weigh in. The Indiana story was fantastic.
Jeez.
Early on, I had a Substack account and was writing, and I thought to myself, what am I doing? It's like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I didn't have enough subscribers to make it go, and I think a lot of people don't. I made some money, but it was like, really, I'm working that hard for this? I can just, and my wife and I traveled a lot and bought my son a house. So how about that?
Good for you, man. We missed you. It's good to see you. I'm glad you put that out last night, and I'm glad I got a chance to get you with Craig, Paul, and me. And great to see you again. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Dennis Dodd with us for CBS Sports, longtime writer and columnist for college football. So, the Big 12 men's and women's basketball tournament right around the corner in Kansas City, and they will have, yet again, the Big 12 Eats menu. We're going to come back and look at them, which are our favorites, which are your favorites, and kind of dissect that and more. And this is 365 Sports. IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas marketplace, where you can get your body, looked at with the state-of-the-art imaging machine. If you have something that's aching, creating a lot of discomfort, and even at times shutting you down. Your doctor wants a better look, wants an MRI. Ideal MRI in Waco and the Central Texas marketplace can help you with that. $497 or less every single time. And then also, Ideal MRI, by the time you walk out of there, they will give you a disc with the images. It will be also in the portal for your doctor to look at, and then you guys can go from there on what you do. And maybe it's not quite as bad as they thought or you thought, and there's another way for you to tackle whatever the soreness and or really serious ache might be. I forgot who was talking about this. Somebody that I was listening to, in fact, a talk show that I listened to in the morning, where they had a son go get an MRI, and it was $850. But that was after the deduction was met. So imagine how much that might have been. It was a baseball injury, $850, $497 or less at IdealMRI.com.
That's my go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf cart batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
It's time to compete against yourself, finding too many excuses not to work out combined with bad eating habits, and Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness can help reach inside your competitive soul. Discipline, getting results you've only dreamed about, personal training, group exercise classes, and even a tanning bed, world-class tennis facility, and pickleball courts and lessons available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, spacious, clean workout rooms, free weights, state-of-the-art technology, weight training equipment, and no intimidation. It's time for you to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Established in 2007 and independently owned, Alliance Bank Central Texas is committed to helping families and businesses meet their financial goals. From their tellers to their board of directors, they know the importance of superior service and competitive products. Customers have confidence knowing that their financial needs are in good hands. It's your bank, Alliance Bank Central Texas, with 2 Waco locations, 4721 Bosque Boulevard and 191 Archway Drive on Highway 84, and at alliancebanktexas.com. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
When you play hard, sometimes you fall hard. Sports injuries require special treatment. At Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, our team of expert doctors provides athletes and active adults with comprehensive sports medicine care, diagnostics. Whether you're in high school, college, or beyond, we'll help you get back on the field. Call on the team physicians for Baylor Athletics. Call Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
You got batteries for my side-by-side?
Yes.
Replace my flashlight?
Sure thing. What about my business?
Oh, good one.
100%.
Batteries for my fleet of trucks?
Gas floor scrubbers?
Yes, and fire panels.
We have pallets of batteries.
Well, what about...
As your go-to guy, if it needs a battery, we have it.
Well, that's all you had to say.
Could have led with that.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
We're not going to have time to get to
This is 365 Sports.
That's me. That's me. Premature as always.
Dude, we're getting a coin jar for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a wallet. I'll put it.
mean-
I'll do this because it's the only way I'm going to stop. Because I talk about like defaults and stuff. From now on, if I come on without the actual liner from the Cutler family, $1 in a jar.
Okay.
And I'm not.
How big of a jar do I need to get, Craig?
That helmet, turn that Nebraska helmet
Ooh,
over.
that would be kind of cool. We can put that.
Just put it in there
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that's
that
what
is.
Matt Rule intended when he sent that over, was for it to be.
I'll send it to him for NIL, like about
No,
$60.
we'll do the
I will be putting
We've
dollars.
got an SFA helmet in there.
Hey,
That's what we'll do.
what are you trying to say?
Well, it's a little more beat up.
I brought my old high school helmet. I didn't bring it into the studio. All right, this is what the Big 12 has done. The tournament will start next week, and in Kansas City, both the men and women are both together again, and they've been there like the last year or two after being split for a long time with Oklahoma City in Kansas City. But it always gets a lot of reaction. The Big 12 each will return school-specific menu items for all 16 Big 12 institutions presented by Undeniably Dairy. And also, by the way, give a couple of the sponsors. KC-based apparel company Charlie Hustle on custom Big 12 Eats shirts available too through Rally House.
All right, Charlie Hustle, you owe us $1.25 in advertising.
Yeah.
for
I was
that
just
spot.
I was just in Charlie Hustle.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just in there in
What
Kansas
did you
City.
guys eat the night of the game? What did you have? You and Zach and Amanda?
Me and Rami, Amanda, and
Bree?
Flaherty and Bree. Yeah, I forgot her name. No, Bree. We went to a place called Free State, which is a brewery. It was really good. And then the Mustafas, Amanda and Rami, I guess not Bree, but they told us that we weren't eating until after the game because they couldn't do it.
Yeah, because they're too
because they would
uptight.
be too
Yeah,
uptight,
yeah.
which until Amanda went back and watched the game for the third time yesterday or the day before, and I saw the point. It was when Jamar McDowell made that 3. That's when they were like, oh, I could eat now. Like they were relaxed. Like they knew that Kansas was going to win.
There are times, I can see fans. You get kind of turmoil in the stomach, the nervousness, etc. All right, guys, let's go over this menu. Let's start with Arizona, the Arizona Wildcat Mini Chicken Chimichanga.
Do you miss an S there on the end of it? Chimichangas?
Well, I mean, it's singular.
I could not listen to an audiobook that you would do. I would absolutely go
Smoky
nuclear insane.
It is not a chimichanga?
Well, it is, but like there's
it is,
two of
but
them.
like I just have
You
to
want more
watch
than
you
one.
read stuff on screen a lot, and it's almost intentional at this point. You skip letters or words, and it just, as a completionist, drives me utterly up a wall.
Arizona Wildcat Mini Chicken Chimichangas.
Yes, thank you. Because normally you go Arizona Mini Chimichangas.
Yeah.
Like that's what
when
you do.
When I read
yes,
the polls,
that's
and the
what
quizzes,
drives me insane.
That's the attention deficit issue.
Yeah, that drives me insane. So, I mean, there's not a lot to break down here, but there is like a comparison, and I'm trying to see, and we'll go along. There have been, it looks like maybe some tweaks from last year. This one isn't one of them. They had the mini chicken chimichangas last year for Arizona. Like, I know they can't do like the signature dish necessarily for every place, but they try to at least like incorporate it somewhat. So yeah, I could see chimichangas for Arizona. There was something though that I saw their fans talking about, like Sonoran hot dogs would be like more of a, I guess, a specifically signature type of a dish maybe for Arizona. But yeah, I mean, it's the Southwest. Chimichanga certainly fits the bill, and it would fit the bill for like 6 of these schools if you really wanted it to.
So to preface this a little bit so people know, a couple years ago, Jack McKenzie, who was with Sikkim, and then Emery Winter, who's my adopted son that worked here for so long with us, went to the Big 12 tournament, and Emery was going to do a quick video series trying all the foods. I even said, like, look, save a receipt. We'll take care of it because I know that's going to get expensive. He tried the first 3 things on the first day, and he said, I can't go back because it was all bad.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
No,
but
no, it wasn't. It was delicious.
Yeah.
And
Is a chimichanga is it a fried burrito?
More or less.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is the same that they had last year. So if it wasn't good last year, which I can't believe
Which
that
they
would ever
did
be the
change a
case.
couple of things because that people didn't like it.
But that fits. But yeah, like I think if you were to go through like the expert analysis from Arizona fan, like what would be the signature dish? The one I saw, and there might be others for every school out there, but yeah, the Sonoran hot dog was one that I saw mentioned quite a bit. But yeah, they're doing chicken chimichangas.
All right, we have about 10 minutes here, so you guys can kind of analyze it as you want. Arizona State, Sparky's smoked boneless wings. I'm not a big boneless wings guy, but smoked wings in any kind are pretty damn good.
I feel bad that they're ripping him off of Sparky. I mean, that's, but maybe he's like a stone crab. It's regenerative. You know, you've been to Joe's Stone Crabs in Miami,
We
Smokey.
have.
Yeah,
That's
you've been down
expensive
there.
as
It's
hell,
very
man.
expensive, but it's a renewable thing. Like they have one claw, and then they go rip them off,
Isn't that
and
crazy?
then
Yeah.
and then they go back down the next year, and when the other claw is back, they're like, "Hey, sorry, Frank. Boom, here's your other claw." But maybe the Sun Devil's wings are regenerative like that, and they can do that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm fine. Like that's a nice. Here's the thing: for stadium food, don't reinvent the wheel. Keep it nice and simple.
Yeah.
Something I can sit in my chair in the T-Mobile Center and eat.
Yeah, there's things.
That's a big thing.
Some
Like-
of these baskets have gotten so
Baseball games, like
Yeah.
you know, the giant hot dogs or like the hot dog nacho combinations. Well, I mean, you're going to have to give me a place on the concourse to eat this because I can't eat this on my lap.
Yep.
You know.
Well, you can't, but it
Yeah,
would be all
I mean,
over.
yeah.
So last year it was the let's see here. What did they have last year? They got the smoked boneless wings, and I just had it, damn it, a second ago, but now it's bouncing around. Last year, okay, they didn't list it here, so give me 1 second, and then we're going to have to fly through the rest of these, but
That's
I
okay.
want to make sure that we get it right. What was last year's for Arizona State? smoked boneless wings. So it was the same thing. So it was basically the same thing. So that one did not change at all.
No surprise that a team out of Texas and Baylor goes brisket sliders.
Yeah, and I will say on the Arizona State one, that was the one that I saw catching the most flack because people are anti-boneless wing. So they feel like it's like a kid's food.
They want to call them nuggets. In fact, there was an actual lawsuit recently in which boneless wing won. It can call itself whatever it wants because this is America, damn it.
Right, yeah.
Which, look, I think if the real problem is cauliflower wings, like those are definitely not wings in any regard. It's just cauliflower that's buffalo.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're talking the vegetable.
Yeah, no, I was at a restaurant today, and that was on their menu of cauliflower wings, and I was like, it's just buffalo cauliflower. Just say that.
Right.
Don't like the cauliflower didn't have to sacrifice as much of the chicken, so shut up.
Brisket sliders is what they had last year. I think if they could have tied in a Dr. Pepper partnership and done Dr. Pepper floats, that would be the most Baylor dish you could do. But yeah, brisket sliders, that makes sense.
All right. Cosmo churros.
I'm all for the churros. I love churros. They're great. I've never had one in Utah. I've had plenty of them other places. But it's a nice little dessert, and I hope that they're good.
Is it sweet?
Yeah, it's like cinnamon and sugar.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that kind of sweet, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they were like if you were to go to each stadium and do like a very specific thing that wasn't like trademarked or something, then Cougar Tails I think would be your BYU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that would be the one that makes the most sense, kind of like Dr. Pepper float. But yeah, I mean the churro works out, and that's delicious, and so you still get some of the sweetness there, the sugary sweetness for BYU fans.
All right. We now go to UCF in Orlando, the UCF Citronaut drink.
Which is basically an orange soda float. It's orange soda and vanilla ice cream.
Ooh,
All right.
that interests me.
That could be fun. That'd be fun for the kiddos,
I
especially.
think it fits, yeah. I mean, like, is it not an Orange Julius, is it?
No,
technically.
I mean, yeah, it kind of, that's
but
almost
sort of the
like,
same family. But yeah, I mean,
I don't know if they blend it or not.
Right, Citronaut drink for the Citronauts. Yeah, that one makes a ton of sense. I could totally buy that one, and that works.
Cincinnati could have created a mass chaos of feedback, but they went with the Cincy cheese coney rather than chili.
Yeah, because I'm sure
there's chili on it.
Yeah, the chili's on there, so it's incorporating that. But yeah, it's not Skyline chili like I was saying. If you're doing like the signature dish that everybody would know,
not a stadium food either.
No, it's not a stadium food. So
because
they're at least kind of sticking in that realm in cheese conies. That's plenty Cincy, so that works. Yeah,
I'll tell you, you can't serve spaghetti at a ball game. When I was at the Met Stadium, they literally sing an Italian song in the sixth inning. And so you would think of any place that would have like spaghetti in the thing. They don't do it because you can't. Like you can't just sit there.
Anything you have to have a fork or something like that.
You
can, but that would be a little bit interesting. All right, Colorado, the Boulder Green chili nachos.
So this one's different. This was the Chili Burrito Bowl last year. I don't think of Colorado as being so southwestern as far as their cuisine goes, but it seems like that's what they are based on the Big 12 offerings.
Rocky Mountain oysters would have been great.
We had some.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, those would be flying off the shelves at an arena.
Yum. Like, if you can ever get to the Buckhorn Exchange in Denver, Colorado.
I've been there.
No, I'm not saying we went there. I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, Smokey and I went there, and it is an original saloon.
It is.
I cannot recommend it enough. Like, literally, it's a place that Wyatt Earp walked into. It is
awesome.
Like
walking into Tombstone, the movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. And we had Rocky Mountain oysters there.
Yeah, we did. And it was great food. And did we go twice? I don't know if we went twice.
Yeah.
Houston's Shasta's Brisket Tacos, another Texas school with brisket involved.
See, like that's because there's an abundance of brisket in Kansas City and they can just rebrand it. I think if you're talking Houston, you're going to talk more about Gulf Coast, Texas food.
Seafood.
There. So, like, that would be, to me,
they're the only ones on the Gulf Coast, too. They could have really
like a shrimp taco or something. Not that I would necessarily want shrimp at a basketball game, but a shrimp taco, something nice and rolled, to me that makes more sense for Houston.
Would it be offensive for Colorado to have a bison burger? I just have to
No,
circle
I don't think
back
so.
to that. Okay,
No,
I think that would be, but I'm sure that maybe
And
it's a little
lean,
expensive.
lean. Here's the thing: it's expensive, a little more expensive. Lean, more protein in bison than there is in white meat chicken.
Yeah, I think that would be more apropos. But Houston, the brisket, that just feels a little lazy. Houston's got a great dining scene, man. Like some of the best in the entire country. So you could go in a lot of different directions. And, I think you'd do like fried shrimp or something along those lines for Houston or like at least incorporate some of the Louisiana flavor because
What about a poor boy?
That feels too Louisiana to me.
Yeah,
that
maybe
feels
it's harder to eat because it's like it kind of falls apart. But like if you did like or like a fried shrimp thing, like 6 fried shrimp and some fries. There you go.
Or maybe even those, what are the
little like shrimp popper things?
Yeah,
that's fine.
Iowa State, the green chili pork walking taco.
Sure.
The pork part, absolutely, because Iowa is renowned for their pork, so that makes a lot of sense. I don't know about the walking taco, but I'm not familiar enough with Iowa State's game. That might be like the signature thing at tailgates. I don't know, but pork I do know is absolutely a signature of theirs, so that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I do think you're missing the boat with maybe a corn on the cob type thing. Perhaps.
Yeah, what people think of corn, but pork is absolutely like they make like the majority or produce the majority,
Walking tacos are small bags of corn chips, like Fritos, filled with taco and nacho toppings. You want to do the last half on Monday, or you want to continue today?
I mean, we can just rip through them. We don't need to really
here we go.
spend too
And
much
we got
time.
Kyle Yeomans on. KU's Big J loaded mac and cheese.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just there. I don't
Still
think
need a fork or a spoon.
But but it's mac and cheese is a little easier to do than say spaghetti. You got to twist. Mac and cheese, you just got to stab.
Okay.
Yeah.
K-State's Power Cat steak tacos. Now I like that. I like that.
Look, that's big time cattle country up there. K-State, big time. Like a lot of their NIL money comes from guys who own a lot of cows. So I think that one fits well.
I mean, it is surprising we've got like no corn-based things for all these Midwest. I mean, I know I just said with Iowa State and pork, but you think there'd be like something like corn on the cob or something like that. But I mean, Power Cat steak taco. I'll never turn down steak tacos.
Man,
so,
I love Oklahoma State's Orange Power Pizza.
That one seems forced.
Would that be orange bell peppers?
Here's the
on?
thing: Orange Power Pizza is
well, pizza's no good either.
Orange Power Pizza is the wrong name. It should be Pistol Pizza.
Yes, I saw
there
somebody
you go.
say
That's
that
it.
as well.
That's what it should be. That should be the name.
And
that way you can have pizza. I'm sure they have cheese and pepperoni, and that's probably what they are.
Obviously, if you were like money wasn't a factor, you do like Eskimo Joe's or something for like Stillwater and Oklahoma State. But
it's cheese fries. It's unbelievable.
Cheese fries, but orange. I'm with you. It should be Pistol Pizza. For sure, but you got to have a little pizza at the arena. That's normally a go-to, so that's how you fit that in there.
It's topped with pepperoni, sausage, ham, sweet pepper, bacon, and more. All right, 3 of Cowtown loaded tots for TCU.
Yeah, that's pretty appropriate, I guess. Have a lot of probably like brisket and sausage and other things you can throw on top.
Cheese.
Of that. Cheese.
Yeah, that makes sense for them. I don't really have an issue with that. Fort Worth, a good city with a lot of good cuisine that's popping up, and it's a good little road trip for those who haven't made it.
Topped with queso, smoked chopped biscuit, or pulled pork.
Yeah, that sounds good. And look, I'll tell you, it can't quite. I don't know, man. TCU and Fort Worth could go, or TCU or Fort Worth and Kansas City could go toe to toe barbecue wise, city wise. It'd be a hell of a
Fort Worth
matchup.
could definitely go barbecue if they wanted to.
Yeah.
The Matador Melt.
I want to say this is different from
last year. It was the Masked Rider Burger.
Yeah, this is the only second difference so far. But, it was the Masked Rider Burger. It's now the Matador Melt, and we don't have details on what that actually means. Okay.
A 4-ounce double beef patty, double Monterey Jack cheese, sticky chorizo jam, confit garlic mayo, fresh lettuce, and Parmesan stacked on a toasted brioche bun.
Brioche.
That same thing.
Yeah,
obviously,
you know
if you're
what?
going
Teriyaki
signature,
bun.
Yeah,
if you were going signature, you go get Spanky's cheese sticks, but I don't
Yeah.
think they can haul those
Man, look at
massive
that
cheese
damn
sticks
thing.
to the arena.
Like sticks are not the right word for that.
No, it's cheese logs
Yeah.
is what they are. But yeah, that would be the signature for Tech. But I mean, that sounds good. So yeah, why not?
Is
All
Utah
right.
still the Majerus special?
Yes, it is.
Okay, which is a pastrami smash burger.
I could see that.
Guess what? Yeah, absolutely.
I liked him so much.
Love Rick Majerus.
West Virginia Mountaineer pepperoni roll.
Couldn't have got it.
That one's on the money.
That's on the nose right there.
Yep.
Couldn't gotten that one more right.
You want to go straight to Kyle? I think
Yes,
we
we
should
do.
because he's a good friend and he's been on hold, and that's rude on our part. Kyle Yeomans, DallasCowboys.com at the NFL Combine. Kyle.
Actually, do you want his opinion on any of these? I'm sure he'll give
he's
it.
probably been to TCU or a few of them. Kyle, anything that we said that you want to salivate over?
Well, as soon as you said it was the Pistol Pizza, I felt like I was in. If it had the right name, I think I'd be all for it. But then you also mentioned the Eskimo Joe's cheese fries, and so then I got distracted by that too. So I'm right there with you guys. I think the Big 12's got some good food and good food cities across the board. So I feel like they're doing a good job of representing.
All right, so how good, what did you learn this week, besides a lot with the NFL Combine? What popped out at you?
Well, I learned that if you wear an Ohio State helmet or have an Ohio State representation, you can run really fast, jump really far, and are probably going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, because that's all we've seen from guys like Sonny Styles, the linebacker, the edge rusher / linebacker, Arvell Reese, and then Caleb Downs, the safety from the Ohio State Buckeyes too. I mean, those three guys, there's a good possibility we're looking up at the overall pick of number 6 or 7 coming up in April, and none of those guys are still on the board. I mean, it's really impressive what they've done, and it's also shocking that they still found a way to not win a national championship in back-to-back years, because they all won it in 2024, but then in 2025 they didn't keep up their end of the bill against Carson Beck in Miami, and all of a sudden they're all three in the conversation to be a top 5 pick against some Miami Hurricanes that are off to the races here in Indianapolis as well.
Kyle, Cowboys are 12-20. Have you been able to maybe – it's still early in the combine. It's still going on. Actually, Lorenzo Styles, Sonny Styles' brother, just ran a 4.28 as a safety. So there's another guy who's going to up his draft stock a little bit. But who do you see being available for them at 12 and 20? Is Sonny Styles maybe out of there? Like, Arvell Reese is already gone.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles is a maybe at 12. Do you think that they're only getting Ohio State if everybody forgets those guys are there?
Yeah, I'm kind of in that bandwagon now. That's one of the disappointing elements of the NFL Combine week is you have the hope that these guys are going to be there at 12, and you're pretty convinced that that's going to happen. And then they go and have a week like they did here. And maybe it's just the media scouts aspect, right? A lot of times the media scouts are behind the league in terms of how they view certain players and certain prospects. And this might be one of those cases that the league anticipated Sonny Styles to do what he was doing, but now 12 seems like a pipe dream for a guy like that. But they're still going to have a chance to take a swing at one of the top 2 or 3 edge rushers in the draft, whether that's Reuben Bain out of Miami or David Bailey out of Texas Tech, or you mentioned Arvell Reese. I think that's kind of out of the question a little bit now too. But then you turn around, you've got your top pick and maybe corner or linebacker if you take a couple names off the list there too. So whether you're at 12 or 20, you feel pretty good about this draft. It's a loaded defensive draft in its entirety. And then in a draft where Dallas needs to spend most of their resources on the defensive side of the ball, they feel pretty good about what they're going to see.
Cal, it's also a pretty loaded draft for Texas Tech, who stands to maybe break some records as far as their overall class goes. And it appears that they're performing pretty well up to this point, from David Bailey to Jacob Rodriguez. I know there's still some time to go, but your impression of the Red Raiders and the impact they've been making?
Yeah, they've been awesome through the draft process, even before this point. We were out at the Senior Bowl in Mobile a couple weeks ago, and Lee Hunter, defensive tackle from Texas Tech, was one of the talking points throughout the week for both scouts and media alike. Same thing for Jacob Rodriguez, of course, the star linebacker from Texas Tech as well. He had a phenomenal week at the Senior Bowl where he forced multiple turnovers, had an interception, had a couple forced fumbles in practice. He was all over the field from a film standpoint. Then he backs it up when he comes here to Indianapolis. So one of the knocks against his film, which is already very impressive, was that he may not look the part or may not have the athleticism as some of these top linebackers. Well, then he comes out here, he runs the fastest shuttle. He has the fastest cone drill. He comes and runs a top 7 linebacker 40-yard dash. And then you look down the list and you're like, wow, Jacob Rodriguez is one of the top guys in a number of these categories. Didn't anticipate that from the jump, and here he is making an impact. So I think both Rodriguez and Lee Hunter, you mentioned David Bailey there. I think he was already a top 10 pick and a lock at that spot. It just depends on where he goes or which team sees him as the top edge rusher on their board and ultimately takes a swing at it. But I think all 3 of those guys have first and second round possibilities. And I think Jacob Rodriguez probably made the biggest jump out of anybody from night 1 in the draft class in what he was able to do.
So, Kyle, 12 and 20, as Paul mentioned. Do you see them? You never know. You could trade down, get more, get whatever else. But I just wish that when you have 2 in the top 20, keep them. Get the 2 best players available. What are your thoughts?
I said the same thing today on one of our podcasts on Radio Row. The question was posed to me by a fan of, do you still see trading down as an option? And I think it is an option, but I wouldn't do it if you're picking outside of the top 20. So I think 20 is off the table from a trade down scenario, unless you just absolutely at the time being get wiped out before that spot. I would rather pick twice inside of the top 20 and maybe trade back from 12 to 18 or something like that. If you don't feel good about what you have there at 12, I have a feeling they're going to see a guy there that they like anyways. But if, let's say, they get wiped out going into 12, maybe they use that pick to pick up a day 2 pick in a couple of rounds. Maybe it's a second round pick and a third round pick in order to make up the difference there. But I'm one that wants to stick and pick. If you're not taking advantage of a possible starter at 2 positions of need, because there will be guys available on the defensive side of the football in positions of need, because they need corner, they need linebacker, they need edge rusher, they need safety. All of those positions are going to have names available that you like at 12 and 20. So I don't see a scenario, unless they just get unreal value or they get wiped out beforehand and there's not the names that they anticipated to be there. That's the only time I see them trading back in any scenario, and I don't think it would be outside of the top 20.
Yeah, I don't think so either, Kyle. I think the only way they would trade up is if, like you have Sonny Style sitting there at 10 and you were like, okay, well, let's go get this guy. He's our favorite guy that's left here. We need him. He fits what we do. But even then, it's less likely, considering you don't have a second-round pick and you don't have a third-round pick right now. So because of that, then it kind of makes you go, like, just stick at 12 and 20 and get those 2 starters and then see what maybe happens after that, especially if you can go, say, 12 to 16 and you do pick up a late second-round pick because somebody came up and got one and you get the 52nd pick or something like that.
Yeah, one of the staff members I talked to last night, we were kind of talking about that scenario, and he said it's going to be a draft where you're seeing a lot of really talented names fly off the board from pick 20 to pick 112 or wherever you end up being in the 4th round. It's going to happen. You're going to see a ton of really tough names there that you liked or that you enjoyed during the draft process. But if you can stick and hit on your first 2 guys, whatever happens the rest of the way is gravy. Whatever happens in free agency before that point, you'll already know going into it. Whatever happens on day 3, that's extra depth for a roster that's going to get 2 playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's where the focus is for Dallas. And it has to be there with the way that they played on defense last season.
Kyle Yeoman's with us, DallasCowboys.com at the NFL Combine. Christian Parker, this goes against the trend of what the Cowboys do when they're looking for a coordinator and sometimes just position coach. Young, obviously very well thought of, what he's done underneath Fangio at Philadelphia. I kind of like this, and it might bring a spark to them. Doesn't mean it will, but your thoughts about the process being what is different than what they normally seem to do.
Yeah, I think it means they're taking to constructive criticism from a coaching staff that is still also very new in their own right. I mean, remember, Shotty's just going into year number 2 as the head coach there in Dallas and as a head coach, period. And Schottenheimer has always been known, and part of the reason why they hired him was he is kind of the modern day head coach prototype. He's a young guy who connects very well with this generation of football, which is very different than in years past. And even Coach Schottenheimer said it on the podium in his press conference yesterday. I mean, this is a different generation of player that you have to connect with. So to have a guy like Matt Eberflus, who traditionally had been very successful as a coach, maybe not as a head coach in the NFL, but was very good as a linebackers coach and a defensive coordinator in the past, with just the vast difference that has happened and the vast shift that has happened with NIL, transfer portal, everything that you guys talk about on your show on a daily basis. Now you have to connect in a different way. And that's where Christian Parker comes in at just 34 years old, extremely intelligent, extremely flatlined whenever it comes to his emotions. I mean, he's a very intelligently emotionally intelligent individual, just as much as he is a book smart and playbook intelligent individual in his own right. So he's going to connect with these players on a different level. And I think the front office really saw the value in that for their defensive coordinator. We're going to get the chance here in about 15 minutes to sit down, or in the next couple, or any time between the next 15 minutes and the next hour and a half. We'll see. We'll get to sit down with Jerry Jones and kind of talk to him a little bit. But I think when it comes to this hiring process, they wanted to do something different because the types of players that they're coaching are different, and all of that kind of trickled down to where they wanted the coordinator to be.
Finish this sentence. The Cowboys will not pick a blank in the 2026 draft.
There's a couple positions I feel like you could get there on. I would say they're still going to pick an offensive lineman on day 3. It's not going to be in the first 2 picks. I still think they could take a running back. I still think they could take a tight end at some point. So I'll say they're not going to take a receiver, and I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. I also, oddly enough, I know there's a lot of buzz around the new system with Christian Parker switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4 and how important the 4-eye spot is in that 3-4 defense. I don't think they'll look at a defensive tackle either. They'll do their due diligence, but I don't think they're going to select a defensive tackle, which is a position they've thrown a lot of draft resources and trade resources recently into. I think they feel good about that spot and what they can build around there. Maybe it's Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams and what they can do in a 3-4. They feel comfortable with doing that. So I don't think they'll take a quarterback. I don't think they'll take a tight end. And I don't think they'll take take a wide receiver. And I don't think they'll take a defensive tackle in this class.
Paul, you and Kyle will get this. They will not take an injured player in the draft.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. We'll see. That seems to be right up their wheelhouse at times. And there's Jermai McCoy at Tennessee that's a little banged up, and they may still look at him as a possibility.
College entries don't count, Kyle. They don't count, no matter how bad they are.
Yeah, no.
All right.
This guy's dead. We'll figure it out.
You mentioned one thing. You mentioned a wide receiver. They're going to tag George Pickens. Maybe they already have. How's that going to end up between Mulugeta, Pickens, and the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think it's a placeholder for now. And it was the non-exclusive franchise tag, which allows him to have conversations with other teams and kind of really see what the value is at his contract and what other teams see his value as. So it's a part of a negotiation tactic that the front office is putting into motion a little bit, because there's such a disconnect on the value of what George Pickens brings. He had a phenomenal year in his one season in Dallas, but it was also a season where he was under pressure to put up that type of number in a contract year, 1 year with an organization after he had kind of the ending that he did in Pittsburgh, that from a league-wide standpoint wasn't the best look and best reputation. So there was pressure on him to succeed in Dallas, and he did that. But the rest of the league still doesn't value George Pickens the way that I think George Pickens wants to be valued, or even the way that the Cowboys value him. I think Cowboys think very highly of George Pickens, and there's a lot of positive conversation with Schottenheimer and Dak and CD that are pointing toward a return for George Pickens. So I know with the whole scenario with Micah last year left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths when it comes to this type of negotiation, especially with the representation and David Mulugeta that George Pickens has. But I think there's a level of confidence in this specific negotiation that's different than the one they've had in the past.
Kyle, you are in the building. If Brandon Aubrey is not in the building, I'm going to hold you personally responsible. I don't know.
Can you commit $10 million?
Yes.
To a kicker?
Yes, you can.
No.
You can to the unicorn.
I don't think.
I mean, like, it's that kind of thought process that's gotten them here.
How much does Little get and some of the other
I
guys?
don't care. Yeah. I don't care about anybody else. I care about Brandon Aubrey.
He's a weapon. He's a weapon.
He's an incredible kicker, and I think there's an element to what you were saying there. He is a unicorn because he's better than everybody else right now in the league, in my opinion. And I know he had kind of a rocky end of the season, but when you look at what he's doing and the type of confidence level they have in him, it's such a weapon that you can justify paying either up to or close to $10 million a year just to have that on your roster. But it is a different kicking landscape than we've seen in the past. I mean, there's 5 or 6 guys now in the league that can do similar, just not as at a high enough level. You talked about Cam Little there and what he's done and down in Florida. I think there are other guys out there that can hit 60-yard field goals. Those aren't necessarily a Haley's Comet type of event anymore when you see a 60-yard field goal go through the uprights. I mean, it's a normal thing to see on an NFL Sunday. So I think there is some pause in terms of the overall value when it comes there. But Dallas has the benefit of matching anything that pops up from a value standpoint for Brandon Aubrey because he is the restricted free agent, and they can place a second-round tender on him. Teams can offer that, and even if Dallas doesn't want to accept the second-round pick for a high-level kicker, which I think is still a conversation that they probably should have if the opportunity is given to them, what they can do is they can match the offer and then go from there. So I think there's a lot of options on the table for Dallas, and I think he'll be in Dallas by the end of the offseason.
When you tell me you could get a kicker like Brandon Aubrey, it's like when you go to a restaurant and Craig says, I'll have a Diet Coke, and they say, we have Pepsi.
Yeah,
like, no. I don't want
there is
a Pepsi.
Yeah.
I want a Coke.
That's too much for a kicker, but he is amazing. Thank you, Kyle. Enjoy Indy, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Yep,
Kyle,
appreciate you. Thanks
Kyle
for letting me hop on.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you. Kim Coulter, by the way, on the menu. The Cowtown load is highly apropos for the TCU Horn Frogs. Oh, my God. Welcome back. All right, we have the quizzes, the polls, and much more. What, Craig? Anything else?
If you don't mention Charles Bediako before we go today.
Charles Bediako, Alabama. Remember, he came and started playing and was good, and Alabama was pretty good. Then he was eventually lost, and he had no more eligibility left. Well, he played for the Canadian under-19 FIFA team recently, and yet asked for an injunction, Craig, today in Alabama from their Supreme Court, and...
Yes, and it was breaking news. It's not so much now, but Charles Bediako filed an emergency motion with the Alabama Supreme Court seeking an interim injunction against the NCAA, according to court records, and that has been denied. The Alabama Supreme Court also joining the rest of America saying, go get a job. You're not getting more college basketball playing time. So if they don't even side with you at this point, then hopefully the message is clear, although I'm sure it still isn't. But yes, Charles Bediako's attempt to get an interim injunction while he appeals the ruling that did not allow him to play, that has been denied by the Alabama Supreme Court. So sanity wins, at least for this particular example.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. One note from S. Michael DeHart on the pepperoni rolls from Italian coal miners, Paul, in north central West Virginia, and their Italian heritage.
Yeah, listen, we Italians can do we do everything better than everybody else. The other coal miners, do they bring you pepperoni rolls and coal? No.
And maybe they heat it with the coals.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, yeah, thanks for that contribution there on the pepperoni rolls. I think that one's pretty much on the money. There's a few others that could probably stand to. I think it would involve trademarks and things, though, so you can't really do like Eskimo Joe's for Oklahoma State and things like that. But anyways, that's a fun thing that I think that they do, and kudos to them for just trying to be creative with it and try to bring something a little bit different. I'm surprised more conferences don't kind of copy that because it seems like a fun thing to do for your schools. But I wanted the Bediako thing to be mentioned because that's been out there, and that's a big ruling because had it been the alternative and he was allowed to play – while he appealed, then I would have lost my mind. And I think Alabama fans would have lost their mind because I think they're at this point like, dude, go away.
I know. I actually did not include him in the lineup because I had not seen the ruling, but the ruling did come down. Fight on. Apparently, guys, my wife doesn't want to remain skinny for too long. She's trying to talk me into another child.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that means you got a good night coming, buddy. Enjoy.
Look, what's the worst that could happen, Father? The worst.
Yeah, my sister, who just recently had a child, complained about the lack of sleep. I was like, it's your fault.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it happened.
Yeah, you're there's 50-50 blame here, basically.
Yeah.
So you're half to blame, but hey, whatever happens there, I mean,
good luck, man.
Good on you.
Right now, it's
it's
that when she's 18 and at college, it's going to be she doesn't call me and cry enough.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, let's go. The wheel.
All right, around and round she goes. And what's the question? Let's see. Ooh. Which sports team rivalry is the most intense from a fan perspective?
Alabama, Auburn?
I mean, our brains immediately go to college football. But yeah, like Ohio State, Michigan.
Yankees, Red Sox.
I'm sure there's some soccer matchup that I'm not thinking of. That gets pretty
absolutely
nasty, like in the worst kind of ways.
Yeah, they
sometimes.
have hooligans.
Yeah,
like the actual people who, and then in America, if you just get in a fight, you're not really a hooligan. It's not something you say like, "Hey, I'm a baseball hooligan. I go to baseball games to get in fights." There are soccer hooligans who they have groups and websites and things that I'm sure you saw that episode of Welcome to Wrexham where the Wrexham police is like, "Yeah, we actually have to monitor these guys when they come in and make sure that they're hooligan in name only and not like in action."
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story if you've ever watched Welcome to. I mean, it kind of gets repetitive, honestly, because every year it's like we invested more money and we won again, and we're going up another level. That's like every season is we invested more money, we got better players, we got better stadium improvements, and we won and we move up a level.
Yeah.
That's every single season basically.
We throw Deadpool up on the screen,
Yeah.
the other team gets kind of wide-eyed, and
the investment and where they started to where they are now, they've it was like. I don't even remember what the original investment was by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney, who's Rob Mack now, but nevertheless. But it was like a couple $1 million or something like that, and now it's worth like $500 million or is on its way because they're charging towards the Premier League.
They basically bought a fast food hamburger and have turned into a tomahawk ribeye.
Wagyu. Tomahawk.
I'm sure there's some international rivalries that are particularly nasty to the point of that, but I think of American and just. Ohio State and Michigan.
No, yeah.
But BYU and Utah is really
we've learned a lot more. And
they really do not like each other.
And it depends on the time. When I was in college, the Florida State Miami rivalries were way more intense than they are now. I think that's just kind of the nature of things change because the teams haven't been as good. I went to a Yankees-Red Sox game in New York with a Red Sox hat on 6 years ago, and nobody told me to F off. And I was like,
who won?
The Yankees did, but it was close. It was a close game. But not even on the subway on the way there, on the subway on the way back, in the game after Mookie Betts hit a triple and a home run. None of those things happened, and I felt cheated.
Yeah, you probably should have been.
I wanted somebody to tell me to jump in a lake.
FC Barcelona, Real Madrid is one.
That's a dirty one. Yeah, that's a dirty one.
Is at the very, very top.
BYU and Utah, there's a lot of actual non-sports feelings in that rivalry, and I think that's what makes it really intense.
It's been eye-opening to see how ugly it can get. And I know if there was some natural disaster in the state of Utah, they'd all rally together, and they're all family in some ways. But it's been eye-opening the last couple of years to see just how much they're equally obsessed with one another. Everything circles back to how did this affect the other side, and how can I dunk on them for this?
Somebody mentioned Red River OU. Now, Texas OU's intense.
I
but
think that's gotten almost too friendly.
It's
we're buddies going off to the SEC together, and we're it just felt like it's gotten.
It used to be vicious.
You know what it seems like to me? It's like when. It was in the movie The Social Network when they're over in London and they're rowing crew, and then afterwards they have this high, this cocktail hour, and they're like, "Oh, ha, ha, Oxford got you again, old chap," and I'm like, "No."
Yeah, I've noticed that there's still back and forth, there's still trash talk, but there is this common mutual sort of respect / friendliness now that I hate it, and it's not there with A&M and Texas yet. But with OU and Texas, that SEC move when they went along together, it just felt like that kind of softened
almost holding
the hatred.
Yeah. All right, let's get to what we have. This is one of the trivia questions. Paul?
Which U.S. city is the only one where in the country where all of its major pro sports teams share the exact same colors? It's Pittsburgh. Everybody's black and gold. The Pirates, the Penguins, and the Steelers.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
That's true. He tried to trick us with the color scheme.
Yeah,
Yep.
there we go. Ding, ding, ding.
Yep,
There we go.
absolutely.
Yeah, based on the coat of arms of William Pitt, the city's namesake.
I think that's cool. I think it's cool to have that uniformity. I wouldn't want every city to do that. Like Dallas is all red, silver, and blue teams or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think for Pittsburgh, that they're uniquely the only city that does that, I think that makes it that much cooler. And there's a reason behind it. It's not like there's historical reasons
You
for
can
that.
also, here's the cool thing about it, you can also wear anything to any of their games, and it matches.
That's
so like
true.
if you
No,
have
yeah, you can.
if you want to throw a Pirates hat on when you go to the Steelers
You are
game,
from Pittsburgh. We see that you are from Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
It's like Iowa, the Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
We all know Shaq holds one of the lowest, but which NBA player holds the record for the highest all-time free throw percentage in league history?
I want to say Rick Barry, but I don't think it is.
I think it's Mark Price.
Okay.
I think it's Mark Price.
Might be. All of them. I mean, Rick Barry did the underhound. Craig, you want to?
Yeah, I want to read this as Shaq. We all know Shaq holds one of the lowest NBA players. Like it's like it looks like he's exhausted trying to speak loudly.
Shaq,
on
you
TV.
can't make no free throws.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
That show's already lost a lot of its luster. I don't know
And
if y'all
Charles
noticed that.
Charles will tell you why.
Well, he's lost a lot of
It's
weight too.
ESPN.
And I have not watched a second of it, mainly because I hadn't seen it pop up. Okay, Mark Price.
I'm saying Mark Price.
All right.
Sure.
Oh,
Steph Curry.
Steph.
Steph.
Dang it. Mark Price was Mark Price.
91.23%.
Yeah.
Steph Curry now is the all-time leader.
You know what? I just went back to my youth and went to Mark Price, who I think made
He
something
actually broke the record of Nash, who was slightly ahead of Price.
right after
Yeah.
Mark Price. And then, dang it. All right.
All right, let's go to the poll results. Should the NFL partner with the ELF to revive the NFL Europe League?
I almost split down the middle. Yes, I missed those days, and no, I wouldn't care for it. Interesting.
I liked getting the. I mean, there was a particular set of football cards back during the
Pro Set 91.
There you go. Yeah, they had like the Barcelona Dragons and all these Frankfurt Galaxy and various other Euro teams. But I don't know, man. I think we all say we want more football, and then like it gets here, and we're like, but not that kind of football.
No,
and so I think that if it was more like if they just focused on the European audience and like had a league for them only, I think it'd be great for like Irish fans and English fans and whatever, German fans. But I don't think the Americans care about anything other than just the NFL.
And it's kind of like the end of American Idol, where like everybody voted for this guy, and then he comes out and it's like, "Here's my debut album." They're like, we just like the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your Idol songs and you're covering people, not your own stuff. Yeah.
All right, one more. Who is your favorite rap group of all time?
Well, Outkast won in this 36%. Not a lot of votes, beating Wu-Tang
Give
Clan.
me an Outkast song. I'm sure I know it, but not the
Rosa
name.
Parks.
I'm not. Who?
Yeah.
Rosa Parks.
Okay.
Bombs Over Baghdad.
All right.
Hey Ya. Hey
Yeah,
Ya.
that's more of an Andre 3000.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan. Who? What's their?
They're
band?
for the children.
Yeah. Gravel Pit is my favorite Wu-Tang Clan song.
NWA.
I'm not even gonna. Yeah,
Yeah.
we should probably stay away from that. You're gonna start trying to figure out what that means, and you don't need
NWA
to.
is Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and those guys from back in the day.
I mean, I'm not. I was never really into. I mean, they're very talented. I was never into like a Tribe Called Quest type of more like thinking man's hip hop or anything, because I just don't. Probably the big thing is I just don't relate to it as much because I'm a white dude. So
Which
I'd
one?
say Wu-Tang or Outkast would be the choice for me.
That was 2/3, 67%.
I'd probably go Outkast because I do like Wu, but Outkast, I'd have more of their catalog. I think I'd be listening to. So yeah, I'd go with Big Boy and Dre there.
Which one was Barry Manilow? I'm just kidding.
Barry Manilow is actually the oldest member of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Thank you to Andrew for all the stuff at the end that we do, plus all the things he does in the evenings and shoving things out in the social media.
You know about Wu-Tang Clan, though, Smokey.
I'm a little worried.
They ain't nothing to F with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I can imagine.
That's one of their songs.
That's one of the songs?
Yeah.
Brandon Rowe, Garrett Ross, thank you very much. And also Logan Bagessi was here. Corey Dickman was in the studio walking around as we continue this renovation and, of course, the expansion. For Craig Smoak and for Paul Catalina, for you, thank you for watching. I'm David Smoak. our sponsors good night.